What's up, everyone? This is John from the Art of Gamemastery, and I'm here today to bring you something a little extra special. This will be our first actual play on this channel, and it's in the Fate Core system using a completely unique world. I really think you're going to like it. So for now, sit back, relax, enjoy the show, and happy gaming. All right.
Very much like that.
So, I'm going to get started here. So a bit of exposition to start off, just to kind of set the backdrop. 500 years ago, the world of Orilia was engulfed in war. At the time, the technology level was akin to that of today's Earth. World government fought over fleeting resources and brutal conflicts across the globe. However, no one faction had any particular advantage over another, so the war seemed to be at a stalemate. Seeking to break this stalemate so that the war could finally end, an organization called Bustrafidons began work on a project to develop a serum that would enhance the physical capabilities of soldiers. Around the same time this project was publicized, a faction of fanatical humanists began to form, calling themselves the Vanguard. The members of this faction believed that such genetic manipulation was too close to playing God and vehemently protested the program. At the time, however, the Vanguard was still relatively small, and the world governments were able to mostly keep them in check. Shortly after the program began in earnest, an accident occurred and an experimental version of the serum was exposed, causing a series of natural disasters and a rapid deterioration of the world's vegetation. This only served to exacerbate the resource problems that had already plagued Orilia. Since the surface was deemed uninhabitable, many people tried to flee underground to seek shelter, and for a while humanity endured, much as it's prone to do. At the same time, the technological level of the world reverted to that of the late Renaissance or early modern era of Earth. Eventually, people realized that the effects of the serum were wider spread than they first thought, as many people began to develop incurable sicknesses, ultimately leading to death. Some people, however, instead developed supernatural powers, while others underwent grotesque transformations into seemingly mindless creatures dubbed Sturge. Around 20 years after the Cataclysm, the UWG, or United World Government, greenlit the Ark Project, which would send humanity to the skies, out of reach of the effects of the Cataclysm. 10 years after the start of the project, a series of meteorites fell to the surface, leading to the discovery of gravitite, a rare mineral that affects gravity. This discovery expedited development of the project significantly, and the entire project itself was completed after only 50 years, where the first Ark, dubbed Arcadia, took to the skies. Since then, thousands of Arks have descended, taking most of the human population with them. Today, the Vanguard leads the world government after having received much power due to humanity's sympathy with their cause following the Cataclysm. Also, it should be mentioned that I forgot to mention this in the exposition, but the gravitite began to lose its power. People didn't really realize that was possible when they built these things, but it seems that the cores of the arcs powered by the gravitite are beginning to slowly deteriorate and lose power. So it's several arcs have already fallen, and it's only a matter of time before Arcadia meets the same fate. So people are starting to freak out a bit over that.
So we're only in the 50-year mark of having gone towards...
No. So you guys are about 450 years in the future right now.
Oh.
So 50 years is how long the project took, but
Gotcha.
it's been 450 years since things took to the skies.
Okay. So 500 is a roundup.
Yeah, so 500 is like basically, 500 is a roundup.
Yeah, okay. Got it. Cool.
500 years when the whole thing started, basically.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So you guys find yourselves as members of the Bustrafidon, and we'll start by going around the table, I guess, and introducing your characters and what your relationship is to the Bustrafidon, how you got your start there, how you know one another, etc. So we'll start with Dr. Mason. You have a bit of a unique background.
I got to go first then. Right, so the name's Dr. Mason. That's really all that's really important. I conduct medical procedures here and there, but I myself happen to be a double agent also that works for Bustrafidon as well as for any people who might need help. To me, patients come first and foremost, which makes things somewhat difficult dealing with all the conflicts that can arise out of day to day. I happen to know Herrera, a mechanic, who works part-time or occasionally on some of my machines that I use for my treatments. And I happen to know Sergeant Striss from back in the old days during his active duty days.
Cool. Bob Robert, what is it? Latimer? Is that how you pronounce it?
Correct. Yes, Latimer.
What's your deal?
So, I was... Actually, just get up my bio. I was used to be, a while back, a sniper for the Vanguard, but Bob got discharged for...
You mean the booster feed on?
No, Vanguard.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so the main group.
Okay.
He was he was discharged from that, and then a bit later, more recently he manifested Esper as an Esper and was captured and being brought to be killed by the Vanguard. While still being processed, right before he was brought to be killed, Dr. Mason helped him escape for his own reasons. And once on the run, he sought out his old friend from the military, Sergeant Tramer Driss, who helped him. And
that's how you ended up part of the booster feed on.
Yeah, through both of them, yes.
Cool.
And he introduced him to the booster feed on.
Speaking of... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, gave him his job as a test subject.
Speaking of the Sergeant Train Majris, what's your deal?
So he also formerly worked for the Vanguard. He was one of the squads who would go out and take care of Espers. Eventually he got sickened of their practices and retired, and has been working for his friend Siegfried ever since.
Very
Trying
good.
to find a long-term permanent solution.
And we'll get to who Siegfried is here shortly, for those of you who are unfamiliar. But before we do, last but not least, Herrera.
I'm Herrera. I'm a grease monkey for Busperidon, and I have been called in to do multiple projects. Mostly, I'm a gear consultant for Dr. Mason, as well as I have worked on crafting prosthetics for Sergeant Zris. I don't particularly like the Vanguard, where I am kind of neutral towards any espers.
And you have a pet rat, Scurvy, right?
I do have pet scurvy.
All right. So with the introductions out of the way, we can begin in earnest. So you guys find yourself in a dimly lit room. It's quite smoky in the air as a man sitting at the head of a table puffs on a cigar. The architecture of the room is fairly industrial in design. Metal walls, tables, mostly everything's metal at this point. There's some like wood accents here and there, but for the most part, it's fairly industrial. As well as all of you all and the aforementioned man, there's also a tired-looking individual in a lab coat with his kind of like head resting in his palm, eyes look droopy. Has obviously not had much sleep in recent time. And I will actually believe I can show both of these at the same time. Let's see, I thought there was a way to show the player.
I probably need a token on the map and then do the thingy.
Maybe do that.
Oh, what is that? Let's see the full one.
Well, at any rate, this is what they look like. The man on the older gentleman on the left, who is puffing on the cigar, his name is Siegfried. He is the leader of the Booster Feed-On. His family has been at least high up in the Booster Feed-On for several generations since the beginning, basically, when the Calamity happened. He looks over, puffs his cigar, looks over at the man in the lab coat, and says, "Edward, any news?" Edward looks up from his tired hands and he says, yawns, "Boss, could you not smoke that? You know the ventilation's rather poor in here, after all." Siegfried stares at him for a moment. "If you have time to yap, you can give an update, yeah?" As he pulls out another cigar. "Anybody else care to partake?"
Zurich will not hesitate to take it.
Huh. I knew you'd be
There's
one to
risks.
accept an offer. He hands over and slides over the cutter and the lighter at the same time. Edward puts his hand back in his palm and says, "Whatever. Yes, we're almost done with the final preparations. It's mostly just tuning at this point. We're hoping to be ready anytime something happens. The deterioration of the core from our eyes and ears seems to be progressing more rapidly of late, so we expect the final fall to be happening in the very near future, but still no word of exactly when." Kinda just droops a bit. Siegfried looks over. "And I hope you guys are all ready for what's in store."
Ark fall? Is that what we're talking about here?
Indeed.
Ah.
Do you know what comes along with that? The project, Ouroboros. Need I remind you of how important it is to the future?
Well, I mean, quick walkthrough wouldn't hurt, just to make sure that everybody here in the room is up to speed.
Well, I'm sure you all know already that Ouroboros is the time machine, and you all have agreed to be the ones to go back in time and set things correct.
That white,
The mission,
right?
of course, is to stop whatever accident plagued us and caused this whole situation we're in now to begin with.
Right.
It's about time. Some of us don't have that much longer to live.
Edward speaks up and he says, "Need I remind you, though, that once we go back, there's no going forward."
Anything's better than being on the run like this.
Once
That
we
means a second
branch,
chance.
I mean, as long as theory preserves itself, then once we branch a different timeline, this one is doomed for non-existence. At least that's the theory. I haven't actually proved this yet, so.
So I guess we get to see what's true and what's not.
Doesn't seem like
Yes.
much of a problem to me.
I agree. Partaking in the unthinkable and the unimaginable is what we scientists do best.
Indeed.
And as Siegfried begins to explain further the situation, all of a sudden, the entire room goes red, and the blaring sound of an alarm can be heard throughout the facilities. God damn it! That's not the what I needed right now. In fact, it's
I
the
can't
last
see
thing
it.
I needed right now.
Wow,
Edward,
wow.
you continue the final preparations
what's the
of
old
the
saying?
device.
If it can go wrong, it will go wrong, right?
Well, ain't that the truth? Seems that way, at least. Edward, you continue
What
to...
does the alarm mean to us?
He's getting to that. Edward, you continue the final preparations of the device. You all go out and see what snuck its way into the Ark this time. So generally, such an alarm is generally used by the booster feed on to signal. It's really not just the booster feed on. It's like the entire facilities in the Ark all are outfitted with this alarm. And it basically means that the Sturge are attacking the city. At some point, the Sturge have developed flight, or evolved to develop flight, rather. So several Sturge have wings and whatnot, and they've started just frenziedly attacking Arks. The Sturge in general, it's outlined in the journal entry, but as you probably haven't had a chance to read it yet, so I'll say that the Sturge in general are mostly mindless creatures, formerly human, or not necessarily human. They could have been formerly animals or something as well, and they live for basically one goal, and that's to suck the blood out of humans mostly and other organic organisms.
So literal Sturges.
Literal Sturges, and that's basically how they feed, and that's their one purpose in life. That they don't. Interestingly, they don't seem to take much. Like they don't seem to care much about other Sturges. Like they'll flock together and whatnot, but they don't attack each other. They don't necessarily like help each other in any way, intelligently at least. They're mostly just annoyances, and yeah, they look something along the lines of. So the flying ones in particular look something like this. So, as Siegfried is giving you his orders, what would you do you plan to follow them? Do you plan to do something else on the way? What's your thoughts here?
Yeah, maybe. So just to be clear, the booster feed on is on its own Ark, which is on the
the booster feed on is all over the place. So the booster feed on is actually, to the average person, an urban legend at this point.
Yeah. Okay.
Most people don't know it exists. Only very few people do. So it kind of has facilities on all Arks. You guys are currently on Arcadia, which is the Ark cluster. Ark clusters are linked Arks that have like formed together to form giant metropolises.
Yeah.
The UWG.
The UWG no longer exists. The UWG was the United World Government, and once people took to the skies, it disbanded, and now every Ark cluster is kind of left to its own devices to manage it as it sees fit. But the humanist organization, the Vanguard, has taken political power in most cities at this point.
Yeah, I read all the lore.
Well, folks, are we following in, or are we staying clear of the Sturges for this round?
I don't know about you, young whippersnappers, but I'm gonna go out and earn my pay. Let's take out the trash.
Jamie, do you have an actual cigar right now?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, props.
Fantastic.
Literal and figurative props.
Go ahead, follow along, I suppose.
Well, I don't like this guy bossing us around, but I guess...
I mean...
He is literally the boss.
He is literally the leader of the booster Phenon, so...
Yeah. So?
That's kind of what the boss's
but
job
Bob
is.
does have authority issues, so...
Yes, I'm playing my character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Private. Follow it.
Oh, yes, sir.
What's the... Like, how close are Sergeant Tramer and Bob?
I don't know. We didn't actually establish exactly how we know each other and knew each other from the military. I don't know, maybe same squad?
Well, you have an aspect that you're battle buddies, so I know you've at least fought together. So I assume you're similar to, like, brothers in arms kind of deal.
Maybe you guys were in basic training together?
Yeah, basic training.
Probably too big of an age gap there,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Trainer, maybe...
probably we're in the same squad.
Yeah, same. I was on the squad with you guys.
Did you ever train soldiers?
Ah,
Oh, there you go.
yeah, I like that. So
Okay.
yeah, maybe the sergeant remembers Bob from when he put him through basic training.
Yeah, go seek out your mentor when you don't have anyone else to turn to. Yeah, makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Check that.
And that could be he's like the one person I'm willing to listen to. Maybe. Basically. What is this we're checking out?
Sturges tanking the city.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm just preparing the area.
I'm
I'll throw
gonna go
you
ahead and
guys
follow
down
behind,
to-
but I don't intend to actually get into the thick of it all.
Yeah, I'm gonna hang a bit back too, because sniper.
So as you guys exit the facilities of the booster feed on are well hidden. They're scattered throughout the back alleys of the city, often on not very well trodden paths. So you guys spend some time making your way out to the main streets, where you see just utter chaos, like citizens rampaging. Sturge have already breached the defenses and are kind of in the city, like feeding on people, and you see just the husk corpses of people just littering the ground. Kind of weirdly, it's kind of a weird sight given that outside it's midday, so it's sunny, skies are clear. Doesn't exactly fit the aesthetic. Like, it's kind of weird. You see the beautiful skies above you, but then all of this just utter chaos down below. Power lines are just downed all over the place, sparks flying. Fires have been set at various points, between rioting, looting, and also just the fact that the Sturges are destroying the property. So the way we'll start this, I've never done combat in Foundry with Fate before, so we might have to do this manually. I don't know if this is going to work. You know what? We're going to do it manually anyway, because the way combat works in Fate is quite different than other tabletop RPGs. Though it's quite similar to many indie ones these days, I guess. But we'll begin by, rather than rolling like a notice roll or something to determine who goes first, it's actually more organic. So I'm going to let you guys decide who goes first, whether it's one of you or the enemies. It's your choice. So decide amongst yourself what you think the best option is there.
Sergeant would probably step outside and just take aim and fire. The first.
Okay. Remind
first
me
enemy
again
he
what
would
kind of
see.
firearm you typically wield.
Probably a long-barreled pistol
Okay.
of some manner.
So remember the handguns here are flintlock. So it'd be,
Flintlock, yeah.
Okay. Long barrel flintlock pistol. Like it. So you see just a mob of Sturges. So there's there's about 6 Sturges among all around you guys, just kind of wreaking havoc. You don't have to call your shot or anything, but if you're firing into the mob or whatever, if that's what you're going for, I guess roll a shoot.
Let me see, their token is Jax Herrera. That's why there's 2.
Oh,
Yeah,
whoops.
there's no Dr.
Yeah.
Mason.
Interesting.
Yeah, your token is the wrong one for the full size for some reason.
Yeah, you have the prototype image is incorrect.
Yeah.
You want to fix that, Pedro? If you go to
Oh, it is?
your
Okay.
token and then click prototype or split token and the image on that tab, you can set to whatever you need.
Okay.
I'll leave you off here until you figure it out so you can grab. So that's a +4 shoot, and he is going to. I need to add the unskilled skill.
Nice. He does? Oh. Oh, nice.
He's going to defend with athletics, which he's unskilled in. Ooh, that is a poor. He is going to
Who's doing this?
use a fate point to invoke. He's going to invoke somewhat with a hostile intentions, the sunny with clear skies aspect that's on the current scene, to say that the current the sun is shining brightly in your face, and it's kind of hard for you to get a good aim on it. So rather than add a +2, he's actually going to attempt to just a straight up reroll. Should have taken the +2.
Okay. That's how I-
The sun was in his eyes.
Yeah. See if there's any other potential invocations here you can do. All right, he's just gonna take the shifts on this one. So that's 4 shifts. That is a success with style. Now you can either let him or them, I guess, take the full shifts and take out 4 of them in one go, or you can reduce your shifts by 2 and take out 2 of them in one go, and then also give yourself a boost. A boost is like a fleeting aspect you get a free invoke of, or you can give the invoke to someone else. It's your call. So, like, if you wanted to reduce it by 2 and then give the invoke to someone else, they could potentially score more shifts on their next thing and take out the rest of them in one go.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do the 2 and then the free invoke.
Okay. So, your shot, like, misses its true target, but since they're all clustered together, it kind of like hits 2 of them one through each other. Your pellets are your bullets are fairly large size, so it has no problem severing the thin bodies of these grotesque creatures, as 2 of them fall to the ground limply. And who are you giving that boost to? I guess now you can decide who goes next as well. That's your choice, Tramer.
Bob, take your shot. They're distracted.
Okay.
Now you do have a boost, Bob, that you can use a free invocation of to get. So after you roll, you can either choose to use the boost and take either a +2 to your roll or a reroll if it's bad enough, or you can choose to forward the boost to someone else and let them take it, depending on how well you do. It's up to you though. So go ahead and decide how you're gonna take on this situation.
So, what do I do if I want to also like be guarding? I want to shoot, but I also want to be ready to guard Tremere in case he takes in case there's an enemy charging at him.
So the way actions in Fate work is you get 1 action a turn, and you can use that action to attack. You can use that action to create an advantage, which is actually the best option for any character. So I guess as a quick rundown of how combat is in Fate and how it differs quite substantially from your typical tabletop RPG. In most tabletop RPGs, you'll want to, everyone spends their turns. Usually someone makes if they're a damage dealer, they'll make an attack action. They may do some other stuff on the turn. With Fate, it's a bit different. So the way damage works in Fate is not hit point based, it's stress based or consequence based. So when you make a roll, it's against the active defend action of the person you're attacking. So if you make an attack roll, the person you're attacking or the set of creatures you're attacking are going to make a subsequent defend roll, and the difference is called the shifts. And how many shifts you have determine how many stress boxes are knocked off. You can also use consequences to reduce the number of stress boxes that you take. But in general, it's typically better to use the create advantage. If you're not the main damage dealer of the group, it's typically better to create an advantage on that damage dealer so that they get a free invocation of an aspect and get extra shifts. That way, for instance, say Tramer did not decide to use the boost and got a +4 on that, and say the Sturge mob had a better athletics check and maybe rolled a +2, right? So the total number of shifts there would have only been 2, which it was, but in a different scenario. So that would leave four stress boxes left on these Sturges. And actually, I made a mistake on that defend roll. It should have been more than a +0 on him, but I'll let that slide for now. But the idea is that he can do +2 there, and then the Sturges will have a chance later to attack you guys and potentially deal stress to you, or potentially deal consequences to you, depending on how well they do. Or you could have stacked him up with multiple free invocations of aspects, so that he could have had potentially a +6 to his roll, right? He could have had 2 aspects he could have invoked, each giving him a +2, which would have taken all the Sturges out in one go. So that would have meant that they wouldn't even had a chance to retaliate. So creating advantage is actually the best action you can take. And creating advantage doesn't necessarily mean like jumping in front of them to defend them, right? Like in your case, creating advantage could be like a distracting shot, where you shoot at them in a way that catches them off guard, and you don't necessarily hit, right? Or maybe you do, but it grazes them or something, and it pulls their attention for a moment. And then the next person to go, maybe it was, Herrera, who then can take advantage of that fact that they're now distracted, which is a temporary aspect on them with a free invocation, to add a +2 to her roll, right? So you can kind of use this created advantage, or maybe Hera instead decides to create another advantage using that free invocation, or passing both her invocation and the free invocation she got to the next person. So there's all kinds of tactics there. It's typically better not to attack directly unless you're one of the main damage dealers. So like in this case, the Sturges are, some of them are on the ground, some of them are in the skies. So Bob, you might be a better person to take action against some of these Sturges than Tramer might, who is better than you at melee, for instance, right?
Yeah, okay.
So that's kind of how combat in general and Fate works. You only get one action, but how you use that action is very flexible, and it's much more teamwork focused than it is trying to like each individual person shine. So yeah, I hope that answered your question rather long-windedly.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. I missed a tiny bit of that, like all of you went out for a sec, but I think I caught it still, the gist of it. So if I can use that boost Tramer gave me, and my roll potentially get a boost, I could like wing multiple Sturges, so then it would be more ground targets.
Yeah, you could totally do that. You could say like you could shoot at the flight ones, and in fact, if you succeed with style on a creating advantage, it's actually super nice, because instead of getting one free invocation, you get 2 free invocations you can pass on to whoever. Whether it's the same person or different people, it doesn't matter. So like, for instance, you could use a creating advantage action to shoot at the wings of one of the Sturges, right, and ground them. And that would say they would gain the situational aspect, grounded and prone or something. And if you did well enough, then you get 2 free invocations with it.
Am I visible to them right now? Do they see me? Or do I get sneak?
You didn't make any straight up effort at the beginning to hide yourself, so I would say yes.
Okay.
Typically, if you want to be hidden at the beginning of combat, you need to make an effort to do so before the conflict starts. You can also mid-combat use a created advantage action to hide yourself, which then would give you a temporary aspect, and you could use that with a free invocation to do whatever you need to do.
Would that be my turn though?
That would be your turn, yeah.
Okay, so without that. So if I use the telekinetic shot, could I do multiple shots at once?
No. I mean, you take one shoot action with it.
Okay.
Would he be able to wing one of the flying Sturges to drop on the other ones?
Yeah, he could use that to wing it. He'd be creating advantage rather than attacking, but yeah, he could do that.
Would that be still a shoot roll?
In this case, yes, it would be a shoot roll, yeah.
Okay. And the boost would just add to that?
The boost would let you, after you roll, you can choose whether to add a +2 to your roll or re-roll the roll, either one. And then once you use the boost, it disappears.
So I can make that a +4, and that's the...
Yes, but I believe you also have a stunt related to using shoot with telekinetic projectile, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'll go with the telekinetic shot instead. Okay. So that's actually using telekinetic shot, not using the normal shot. So I use will.
Right, so you can use right, yeah.
And
So
that takes a mental
so then you get a
damage?
+2 on top of that, which would be a +6, and you're trying to wound or wing them, so that's or ground them rather. So that would be like them using an athletics roll, and this is where I screwed up on Tramer's thing. So really, they're gonna roll. They get a -2, but since there's a bunch of them in the mob, the rest of them in the group are going to add +1 to that roll. So there's 4 remaining. One of them is the one that you shot. So there's 3 other than that. So that'd be a total of +1 because it'd be -2 + 3. And then they are going to invoke use a fate point to invoke the aspect rampaging citizens. Actually, no. They're going to use the. Let's see. Hold on a second. Let's see what your fate points are, or your aspects are. Here. Yeah, they're gonna invoke the aspect rampaging citizens. Oh, by the way, Tramer, since they invoke that aspect hostilely against you, you get a fate point. By the way, so you'll have 4 in total.
Ooh.
And he's going to do the same thing to you, Bob, where he's going to invoke the rampaging citizens to say that when you're firing the shot, right, with your telekinetic powers, one of the rampaging citizens bumps into you and kind of knocks you off guard, and that's going to give them a +2. So that brings them up to a +3 total, and they are going to accept that. Unless you want to invoke an aspect yourself and add another +2 to your roll to add more stress boxes, they're going to accept the fact that they're going to take 1 stress damage.
So that goes against my +4 on the will.
Yeah, so that's their defense roll, basically.
Yeah, it's their competing rolls.
Yeah.
I want to invoke hyper focus to say I'm trying to make a shot. I don't get distracted.
Right. Okay. So that would you could add a +2 to your roll, which I'm assuming you would do, and you would spend a fate point to do that. So now you have 2 fate points in your pool.
2? Didn't I gain 1 from the?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, 3 total because you gained 1 from the hostile
okay.
invocation. Yes, you're correct.
Okay. So that's a +2.
Right. So that would give you a +3 difference again, which would still be succeeding with style. So they're not going to invoke anything else. So they are going to accept that you succeeded with style on that. The one you attacked is going to gain the aspect, or just give the whole thing the aspect. We'll say grounded and prone. And since it was a success with style, you actually get 2 free invocations to pass on to whoever, and that person can use them both or use one and pass it on, or pass both on, how they want to do that. So who do you want to go next?
First of all, so I take mental stress from that, right?
You take 1 mental stress, yes.
Okay, that's what I did. Got it right.
Yep.
So I can give 1 to 2 different people then, or 1 2 to
You
one
just
person?
pass them on to whoever is next, and whoever you decide to go next in the turn order, and then they can decide whether they want to use them or pass them on themselves or whatever.
Okay, got it. Herrera, they're downed. You can get them out. Get them down now. Take them out now.
So you see one of these creatures has been grounded and is kind of laying prone on the ground, and it looks up to you and screeches in your face. Ooh, crafts. What are you attempting to do with this? That is a nice roll.
Ooh.
I'm going to use Wrenching Strike. I'm going to use my craft to make my fight melee attack. So
Okay.
I'm basically brain bashing it with a giant wrench.
Yeah, nice.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
So you guys knocked him down, and I'm going to spike it into the ground.
And you haven't even used the invoke yet.
And this is okay. So it's a +2 plus the +2 from your stunt, which is a. Wait, hold on. Where'd you get the +4 from?
I don't get a plus. I don't get any modifiers. This just allows me to use my craft as my fight.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
It's a +6 because I rolled 2 positives, 2 neutrals, and I get +4.
Yep, gotcha. I understand now. So
Oh, so that's how it works. So
you're going after the one that's down, right?
Yeah.
Did you want to?
Bob told me one was down, so I'm gonna try and smack it.
pretty awesome move there.
All right, it's going to use.
Hard.
Actually, it's going to try to defend with its unskilled physique and just kind of take the hit. Switch out of edit mode. And then it gets a +3 from its people, so there's a +3 shift right now. Oh man, you guys are making me go through these fate points fast.
Yeah. Imagine you're using percussive maintenance, Jack, right?
It's going to invoke its frenzied aspect using a fate point to give itself a +2, and it's going to basically make it a point that it's super frenzied right now. It's super like struggling to get off the ground quickly, and it's going to reduce that to a +1 shift, which it is willing to take right now. But you do have 2 free invocations if you'd like to use one or both or whatever you want to do, because it is grounded and prone.
So it frenzied on me, and so now my giant...
So basically, it's frenzied. So it was able to use the fact that it was frenzied to make it canon that it evaded your attack to a certain degree, but it's still not completely evaded it. So you still have a +1 shift. So if you left it at this, it would still take 1 stress of damage.
You haven't used the invokes though, right?
But if you invoked one of your aspects, that would add a +2 to your roll, so that would bring it back to a +3, which would be a success with style.
Jack didn't use the boosts though either, right?
The boost, what boost? You used the boost, remember?
Well, shouldn't I be getting a boost since it's down and prone? It should be.
That's what the free invocations you have to use are.
Okay, so it's down on the ground, so it shouldn't be at +5. It should be something below that.
No, it should. It's only so the way it works is if you choose to use one of the free invocations you have, you could add +2 to your roll. So right now you haven't used those free invocations.
It's down on the ground. I get +2 to hit it.
If you choose to use that, you could also pass it on to someone else and let them use it in a later roll.
Yeah.
So I'm swinging with +8 instead because it's down on the ground.
Okay.
I'm using.
So then that is a plus.
Prone?
So you're using both. You're using both free invocations to add +4, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
So you're swinging with +8. So that's a +5.
It's gonna take 3 physical.
So you have 2 options here. You had success with style with a +5. You could either just do the +5 and just take out the rest of the Sturges in one go. Or you could make it a +3 and leave 1 Sturge remaining, but create a boost that then Pedro's character could use to do something. It's up to you. Either one's viable. Maybe he wants to capture one of the Sturges, whatever you guys are thinking there. Or if you just want to take them out, you could just use your +5 to just
What did you say, Pedro?
bash all of them.
I was saying I am not a martial character, just an FYI.
Yeah, it looks like the heavy guns have knocked them out of the sky. I'd like to consider this more as like I'm finishing them all off.
Okay.
Like just whacking them across the head and making sure that they don't get back up.
So you just swing down on the top of the head of this down Sturge, and then you kind of just, as you turn around, you see the other ones there. You just kind of follow through with a horizontal swing and just behead the remaining 3 in one full circular motion. and that leaves no more Sturges left alive in your general vicinities. As you do this finishing move here, the rampaging citizens, some of them kind of like begin to hesitate a bit and turn around and like gawk at what just happened. And
Good shooting there,
things.
Bob.
What was that?
Good shooting there, Bob.
Nice
things-
percussive maintenance there, Herrera. Sorry, so
Great.
Boss,
That was
did
impressive.
Herrera just behead them with a wrench?
Yes,
If I'm understanding
she did.
correctly?
Mm-hmm.
a big circular swing. Think like Legend of Zelda's like, power move. And at this point, the things have started to calm down in your general vicinity because the surges in your area have been dealt with. Though people are still a bit concerned and flustered. Bob, I'm going to compel. So you used your telekinetic powers out in the open.
Oh shit!
Right, with there were not just citizens, there were also town watch and everything amongst the ranks. So I'm going to compel you and say that some of the town watch and the people noticed your use of powers and have started to approach you. You have two choices here. You can either accept that compel and gain a fate point, and then we'll proceed with how that plays out. Or you can spend one of your own fate points to override that and say it didn't happen. So to be clear, nothing bad has happened yet. It's just it presents a complication in the situation that you guys will have to resolve somehow. It's like you haven't like started combat or anything. It's
Just a social challenge, whether it happened or whether we can weasel out of the consequences with some clever wordplay, I suppose.
I'm gonna let it happen.
okay.
Uh-oh.
So in that case, you're going to gain a fate point.
Ooh, nice. Try to maintain that it was just a gun and they didn't see well.
Yep. And I forgot to mention too, the fate points you get from hostile invocations and compels don't actually get given to you until the end of the scene. So right now we're at the end of the scene, so you would get those
Okay.
those fate
Oh,
points.
so I would have been 2 out of 3 because I used mine and then I got
Right. Now you just got
to 4.
Yeah,
got
2
both
more,
of them.
yeah.
Okay. So
same
I
with you,
used
Tramer.
up-
So you would not have received the one you got from a hostile invocation until just now.
Yeah,
Okay.
so if I had used up all 3, I wouldn't have any left to use, even the ones I got during the encounter until
Correct.
after.
Yeah. You can
Okay.
still take actions. You just won't be able to like invoke aspects
Use a
of it.
fake one, yeah. Okay, got it.
Yep.
Do I mark that as like 4 out of 4 or? 4
Yeah,
out
for
of-
now, well, I would say you would mark as 4 out of 3 because technically your refresh is only 3, so you start
Yeah.
every
Okay.
session with 3.
The 3 is the refresh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not really applicable. Okay. So.
So
yeah.
with that, we're going to begin the new scene now. The streets are the same. There's let's see the rampaging citizens is no longer an aspect because that has calmed down. Down power lines are still there, and it's still sunny with clear skies. And if I don't think any of you took stress in that encounter, but if you did, you would have reset your stress boxes to nothing.
Oh, cool. I took.
Oh, you took mental, yeah. So you would reset your mental stress.
Nice. Yeah. Wow. That's
So
actually kinda hard.
you see kind of like a number of people like gawking at you in particular, Bob. And among that group of people, a couple of them who seem to be town watch or policemen, so to speak, start to approach you. So,
Oh, wait.
what was that you just did?
Hold on, my sniper rifle fired my gun.
That didn't look like a bullet to me. How did?
Can I interrupt and try and sequester the party away?
Sure. What do you?
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and briskly step up next to Bob and Sergeant Striz. Good shooting, good shooting. So glad that a lot of you were here. Thank you, officers. I'll be taking my folks here to make sure they're all right. They're tip top shape. Crack shot, Bob. By the way.
Roll a rapport check.
Rapport.
Yay. better than me. Or not. Yeah, +1 is still better than me. Mm.
Oops. Oh.
Wow.
Mm,
So,
let me see.
Mhm.
Dr. Mason, what you got? Huh. They look to you and they're like, they look suspicious, but they don't really have any clear evidence to do anything about it. So like, just stay clear of this area, will you? We're trying to clean up at this point, but we appreciate your assistance.
Of course.
And they kind of like start to walk away, but keep double taking back to you as they do so.
thanks for the save there, Dr. Mason.
No problem at all. I gotta keep an eye on my charges after all. I know some fine shooting for the lot of you. We should.
Seems you still don't have any gray matter in that skull of yours, Bob. Come on.
We may.
As you all talk amongst yourself, all of a sudden, the ground starts to shake beneath you.
Oh, yeah.
Several building structures begin to crumble as their foundations are interrupted. People are being buried beneath the rubble. People continue to flee again. The streets, again, are quite chaotic as citizens rampage, perhaps even harder than they did before. You can probably guess that the inevitable time has come. Power begins to go out in certain areas of the city.
We don't have much time left.
I do believe it's about that time, fellas.
Yes.
So we should probably be heading on down to a particular where fate awaits.
So you're making your way back to the headquarters, I take it?
Mm-hmm. I mean, everything seems to be outside of the buildings, falling over to be kind of like under control.
Okay. So you make your way back to the Boaster Feedon HQ, I guess, local HQ. And this is actually another mistake in the... It should be poorly ventilated. When you enter the facilities, immediately you're intercepted by a number of people. Like, oh, there you are, hurry to the lab. Edward's just finishing his final preparations. There's not much time left. We have to go quickly. And they begin to lead you towards the lab area. When you enter said lab, you notice there's a slight chill in the air. Seems to be quite air conditioned in here, likely to protect some of the more brittle equipment, finicky equipment. Speaking of equipment, there's equipment scattered all over the place. Herrera, you probably recognize a lot of it, given your particular trade.
Probably
But
build some of them.
to most of you, it's you have no idea what this stuff is. Like, there's oscilloscopes, there's all kinds of stuff around, soldering irons, everything. And like the rest of the facility, it's quite poorly ventilated in here, so there's a lot of like soldering dust and the smell of soldering iron can be hence the air kind of deal. Edward calls to you. Ah, there you are. Quickly, we don't have much time left before the power goes out, and this whole operation is put in peril.
Well, then let's get underway.
Before we go, though, I should mention this hasn't exactly been tested, so you are kind of guinea pigs here, but I'll be with you, just in case something goes terribly wrong, as he kind of says hesitantly.
Hologram?
Sounds
we
like
might
it's gonna be
die,
a
but I
fun
mean, what else
time.
is new?
Siegfried walks in.
We're dead either way.
Well, good luck to you all. Edward, it's been a pleasure working with you, my friend. Please give my regards to my past family if you see them, but I suppose letting them know who I am probably isn't the best idea. Well, Dramer, he lights up a cigar and tosses you one. One last smoke for the road.
Much appreciated, old friend.
As he kind of, you know, pushes you into, not pushes, but like walks towards you and kind of like guides you into the chambers of the time machine. Edward starts fiddling with some buttons on the wall and closes the doors.
Thanks,
So
dude.
long, old friend, as he says. And just as you begin to feel the sensation of tumbling as the whole city begins to free fall, time machine flickers. Space warps all around you. You can feel your body being torn apart into many molecules. It's quite painful, but it's not so much you can't bear it with grit teeth. And seconds later, you're falling in the skies, not super high, but high enough to be a slight concern. And Edward starts to scream, "Ah! I thought I had these coordinates correctly! God damn it! Brace yourselves!" And you all can make a physique check, if you wish, to attempt to brace yourself against a passive opposition of +2. I should also give you some aspects that are available. Moment.
Wait, are we above a tree line? Are we looking at like solid, jagged rocks? Is there
You
sand?
are. One moment. Let me.
Over the ocean.
Can I maneuver Edward beneath me?
You are above stone ground.
Oh no.
Looks like somewhere in a city of some sorts. Perhaps concrete. There's no like jutting spikes or anything, any like major hazards in your way, though there's definitely rubble along the ground and whatnot. There are a few aspects here you might use to invoke, and perhaps the corpse-filled street could be useful somehow to cushion your fall as a suggestion.
Laying on a corpse.
One possibility. Or you could use your own aspects to do something.
Oof. I don't like the idea of landing on corpses. I think I'll
Nope,
just
we lost
take the-
Jack.
No. Edward, I thought you said that coordinates were better than not that great.
Did Edward come with us then, or
He did. Edward
Yeah.
came with you.
Okay. Hello, you're back. Welcome back, Jack.
And he is also going to roll physique, even though he doesn't really have much training.
Better than me. So, I assume Tramer lands before me. Can I? invoke
You guys
my-
can decide that. It's
I mean,
part of the
it's
narrative,
heavy.
so it's not like mechanical or anything.
Can I invoke my aspect? Have him help me not.
Which aspect are you invoking, and how does it relate to that aspect? Like, how is what you're trying to do relate to that aspect?
War buddies with Tramer. Trust fall.
So you would say that
Hey, Tramer.
he
I
probably
don't
tried to
think I-
catch you, kind of deal.
Yeah, Tramer. I don't think I came out of the portal very well. I could use a hand here. I think I'm gonna crash.
So before landing, the sergeant would try and get him oriented correctly, so at least he was like gonna be landing on his feet.
Okay, I'll allow that. So I'll add a +2 to your roll. That would land you at a +1. So if you landed,
Yeah.
you would take 1 point of stress, which
Mm.
isn't a huge deal. You still have 1 over plus some consequences.
So one is 1 point of stress. So you'd have to get a 2 to not take.
Right. So the passive opposition is +2. So you'd have to get a +2 to
Okay.
succeed at a cost, or you'd have to get a +3 to just succeed.
Overcome it.
outright.
Yeah. Okay, I get it. I think I missed the part where you said it was a +2 opposition.
Dr. Mason, you also are only at a +1 right now. Is there anything you'd like to invoke to get yourself up to a +3, or are you happy taking the 1 stress of damage?
I'm gonna take the 1 stress here.
Okay.
So how do I mark that on the sheet?
You just in your sheet, there's under physical stress. You just click one of the boxes.
Okay, gotcha.
So that's minus a fate point, right?
No. It's not minus. Oh, if you want to invoke, yes, it's type cost of
Yeah.
fate
So
points.
invoking my aspect was Okay.
You're sitting pretty good with fate points though. So
Yeah, I'm back to refresh rate.
Tramer, or no, sorry, Herrera. Oh, she's back. Herrera, you are at a straight up success. Like I'll let you narrate how you do that. Alternatively, you could invoke an aspect to succeed with style, which would give you let you create a situational aspect on the situation. It's up to you.
We're falling out of a portal. We're not in like a machine or anything.
Correct.
We're
You're
just
falling you just like manifested in the sky, and you're above the ground right now, falling about 20 feet or so.
Can I use my style to like aid Dr. Mason?
Well, right now you're only at a +4, and the passive opposition was a +2, so you're not at a success with style yet. You're still at a regular success right now. So if you did nothing, you just do something to land safely, however you decide to narrate that. But if you did invoke an aspect, you would cross the success with style boundary, in which case you could do something like that.
That's my fall.
But you would spend a fate point to do so.
Right, so like I spend a fate point, and I'd like to punch out a shoot and kind of grab onto the doctor and
so
use
which aspect are you invoking with your fate point to do?
Dr. Mason, I'm their gear consultant.
Okay.
So
Very good. So you do. You pop out you have a chute prepared, like a portable parachute, and you slap it on Dr. Mason's back. And Dr. Mason, that gives you a free invocation of that aspect. So you would actually not take that 1 point of stress. You would just be a regular success at that point.
By spending the invocation?
Yes, the free invocation.
it's free. I spent the fate point. You just say yes. You want to.
Right, but you spent the fate point to give me the invocation, mechanically speaking, right?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, go ahead and use that.
Spend it for +2.
Okay.
So, do I understand correctly? Elos could use the invocation also to re-roll.
Yes, if he chose
If he
to.
wanted to.
Yeah.
You could risk and hope to get like a success with advantage or
Yeah.
something.
Exactly. Any invocation of an aspect, whether it's free or
Yeah, that's my thought.
you spend a fate point, you can either take a +2 or re-roll. So you typically don't want to re-roll unless you're like in the negatives or something.
Yeah. Just making sure I understood correctly what an invocation was.
And similarly, like with your invocation you used, you would have also had the option to re-roll instead of taking +2 of it.
Yeah. So the invoking an aspect gives you an invocation which you can use. Okay. That's clear. I got it. Cool.
So I think everyone's resolved that situation. So everyone, for the most part, lands safely to some degree, except Edward. He kind of like lands on his butt and like it's like, ouch!
Well, I landed in my
Rough
butt
landing.
too.
And he took one. What was that?
I did too.
Oh yeah, that's right. How would you narrate your rough landing?
I'm just gonna wait. So that would be harm. The physical.
It would just be 1 point of physical stress. It's not necessarily like you didn't really like you didn't break
Not
your
serious
arm or
harm, but it could
anything.
be,
It's just like
scratch it?
it's just inconvenience rather.
Like scratches or something, or no?
Yeah, you could say you scratches. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna use that, land properly, land in a hero pose, and then get up with my knuckles all scratched, and my nightfall sword is like, dang, that did not work as well as I hoped it would.
Okay. And as soon as you guys land, I mean, dust scatters everywhere, and you quickly there seems to be someone actually in the vicinity you were in, like really close by to where you landed. They were in like a prone position with what looked like some sort of long-barreled rifle aiming down the road, basically. But as soon as you guys land, this individual swings onto her back, throws the rifle over her shoulder, like kind of like kicks up her knee as a rest, and points the rifle directly at you, Tramer, at your face. And I need you to roll a notice check against a +1 passive opposition.
A notice check. Let's see. What would a notice check fall under?
Notice.
It's a
It's
skill.
the upper right skill across from athletics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I totally overlooked
John, do I understand correctly that was that invoking a skill check or no? That's not.
No, that was just me calling for a skill check.
Okay. Got it.
It's not against any sort of active opposition because she wasn't trying to be stealthy about it or anything. So it's just against a number I come up with off the top of my head based on the situation.
I see.
So as soon as she does this, like you notice immediately, and you're able to react however you see fit.
Could he, is he within reach of the rifle?
Yeah, I will say he's within reach.
Could he reach forward with his artificial arm, grab the barrel, and crush it?
I was hoping you'd do that.
Back?
Yes, I would allow you to do that. That would involve I would say a physique check.
Okay.
And you have an aspect regarding your mechanical arm, don't you?
It is
You have the fact
hidden spring loaders.
that Harris side project is you. So I would allow you you rolled pretty well anyway. And the passive opposition was only +1 or +2 to do it. So you succeeded regardless. If you wanted to invoke an aspect to succeed with style, that would be your prerogative, but it's not really necessary if you don't want to do it.
Yeah, I'll just go with it as it is.
Okay. So you grab the barrel with your mechanical arm. By the way, is your mechanical arm on your right or left?
Let's look at the picture. That would be the right.
Okay, and are you right or left-handed?
Right-handed.
Okay, good. So you invoke it with your strong hand, and you just bend the barrel immediately, and she stares at you in utter shock as she kind of just drops the gun and jumps up and backs away. She pulls a knife, a combat knife, out of her side and puts it in
Don't do anything foolish, soldier.
Who are you? Where did you come from? And I should probably throw down the individual in question here. It's actually a woman.
Yeah, you said that. Seems rather excessive, but just... No. What do you get on us?
I should also mention that the time frame you guys landed in was before the calamity, the catastrophe. So the technological level of this time is akin to our modern day, right now. So a lot of what you are seeing is probably quite astonishing or confusing or both to you, since none of you are old enough to really remember any of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you make obviously Herrera. You're. It's quite obvious to you that a lot of this stuff are firearms, and a lot of the equipment you can make out what it is just because you're familiar enough with mechanics and electronics that you can kind of guess that this is the equivalent of that kind of deal. But to most of you, a lot of it's probably quite confusing.
Yeah. Isn't it at least 450 years shouldn't no one be alive? Remember?
Correct. That's the thing I was getting at there. Unless I don't know.
Unless-
Maybe there's someone out
the
there
director
who
seemed
cheated
like
death
he was-
somehow, but
The director seemed like he was saying he was old enough.
Edward is the one who came back with us.
Edward is the one who came back with you. Yes, he's the.
So Edward, let's look at the while they're busy fighting.
Oh, Edward.
Edward, let's look at these whatever chronometers we have. Try to figure out like how far back did you send us? Where are we?
Well, I was hoping to go far enough back before the catastrophe, but as far as the exact time frame, I'm not sure. As he pulls out one of the devices that he brought with him, and
Shall I aid him on
thinking
checking?
real quick what he would probably roll here. Oh, that's the wrong character sheet for one. He will. He's going to roll a. Did I really not give him lore?
It was just a lab assistant.
I didn't take Lord either. So
No, this is wrong. He should not. Oops, I didn't mean to roll that. He should not have contacts. He should have lore. That's a mistake.
What?
Pretend that's a lore check.
I see Lord there.
One Edward.
yeah, check your contacts.
Oh.
You got laser eye surgery.
I think you clicked on the wrong one. Bottom left?
No. He had selected.
Oh, there's
the boost
lore.
on the
Okay, I
wrong
just wasn't
one.
scrolled down.
Yeah,
Actually,
I'm looking at the character sheet, yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
I like his
didn't
first
say
roll
anything.
better.
I agree.
Anything.
So he looks down and he's like he kind of taps the machine a bit and kind of the dial on it moves slightly and he says, "It looks like we're about right on schedule here. I mean,
Isn't this time travel related lore?
yeah, it would be.
Doesn't he get a
None of us
big
know what caused the.
Yeah, he does.
the
That's why I said he has no problem determining.
Oh, okay. So that was on 5. Yeah. Cool.
So we don't know how far back we have to go, but it looks like it hasn't happened yet.
It is
Yeah.
definitely not happening yet. It looks like we're about 460 years in the past. So
Are we
before
are we
they
on
even
Earth?
started the
Are
process.
we on the planet?
What was
This
that?
is the mantle. This is the crust.
You're on the surface right now. Yes.
I'm probably like rolling on the dirt like a cat freshly left outside. Like,
Yeah, this is probably
I've
the
never
first time
seen land
seeing
before.
natural soil, right?
I've never
Yeah,
seen
yeah.
natural soil in my life. It's like, oh my god,
Even though it's mostly concrete here, but there's still some like,
there's some dirt on the concrete.
yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the sergeant just kind of face palms with his normal hand while looking back to the soldier, like, don't mind them. Don't mind them.
Yeah.
You never answered my question. The red-haired lady says, "Who are you, and how did you get here? I'm quite perceptive, and I noticed that you weren't here just even moments ago."
That is a very long story.
How
Our plane
far
just
back
crashed.
did you see there?
Do they have any kind of symbol or any means of determining which side that they are on their uniform?
So, they do have symbols on their uniform, but all the knowledge related to that war has been completely lost. So
Okay.
you wouldn't even like even if she told you the name of the side she's on, you wouldn't be able to make
It
heads
would
or tails.
have no meaning.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the Vanguard is still around, and these still exist.
You can
then.
assume so, since you seem to be in the time frame you're expected to be.
Yeah. So we would recognize it if it were
Right.
that
It is
symbol.
definitely not the logo of the Vanguard or the. In fact,
First to fade on.
yeah. Just thinking here. Oh yeah, I remember. I made him characters. So the Vanguard. Oops. I forgot to change the name. Hold on. This is Booster Feed on. And this is the Vanguard.
Mm.
But yeah, neither of those emblems show up anywhere on her uniform.
Now, kind of related though, is there anything he could use to try and determine possible rank? Anything that
Certainly.
looks even familiar?
Roll another notice check. Okay. You are a grizzled veteran, so the passive opposition for this would be +3, because you're not entirely familiar with the ranking system of past, but you are a grizzled veteran. You could spend a fate point to invoke that. That would make it a tie, which would be a success at a cost, a minor cost, not like a failure, but like a minor inconvenience.
I'll go ahead and spend a fate point on that.
And if you wanted to, you could evoke something else to add another +2. If you come up with something.
No,
Okay.
we'll call it good with a standard success.
So you get the idea, going by the emblems and the decorations on her uniform. She's definitely officer level, or at least higher up in the ranking system. But you kind of misjudge exactly where, and you're thinking more like captain.
More means better. More means better.
And Jack, remind me, captain's below lieutenant, right?
Lieutenant, then captain.
Okay, so captain's below. Okay.
First lieutenant, second lieutenant, captain, admiral, general.
Okay. So yeah, you think it's a captain? That's what your gut's telling you.
We're on a classified mission. Pretend you never saw us, Captain. And he will. Could he attempt a?
Intimidate.
Is there any kind of intimidate?
Intimidate would be provoke.
Let us know.
What are you attempting to do here?
Basically,
We
just
never thought.
convince them that just look the other way and don't question orders.
Could you take?
She's going to use a fate point to invoke the fact, her high concept, which is coalition lieutenant, to the fact of where she would be familiar with all the modern weaponry and know that what you guys are carrying is not modern by any means. B, would recognize the fact that you just called her a captain when she's obviously a lieutenant based on her decorations. And C, the fact that your guys' attire fits no military attire known to exist. So she'll do a plus, that'll bring her to a +3. And the shift there will be a +1 to her defense. There's some creative things you could do here if you really wanted to get creative with the scene aspects, for instance. For instance, I mean, just because you guys are still new to this and I'm trying to guide you a little bit, but one thing you could do is invoke like explosions and loud noises to say maybe she misheard you when she said captain.
Is this a situation where someone else could like roll to help?
Create an advantage?
You could have created an advantage before he would have rolled for the.
Yeah.
But it's too late now that he's made the check.
I see. Okay. Gotta be.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that'll be the direction I go. So the explosions and loud noises. Did you mishear me? Look the other way. We are under classified orders. We do not have time for interruptions.
She looks at you. On whose orders?
That's all your pay grade.
Mm-hmm. Like
The boss man.
Why are you in a combat zone?
classified.
Why are we in a what?
A combat zone. You don't look particularly,
You don't look very well armed for a combat zone.
well, I assure you that my armor is good enough for me. I'm not
What?
one for close combat anyway.
This isn't the Ren Fair?
But she'll kind of like
I could
back down at this point. Be like, well, if you're here on personal matters, that's your prerogative, I guess. Just don't get in our way.
Likewise.
So you guys are in the middle of a battlefield, in the middle of a city. You have no idea what it is, where you are.
It's a city?
You are in the middle of a city, yeah.
But now we try to seduce her.
Quite a ruined city, but yeah. As an example.
Where the hell are
Also,
we? And where do we need to go?
Also, I forgot to mention that since you're now in technically a different setting here in the past, the global issues aspect have also changed.
Global issues? Oh.
And I'm going to add one more to this, actually.
What do these do?
They're just
that what-
issues you can invoke at any time. They're
Okay,
globally available as long as you're in this setting.
Yeah,
They haven't
they're to be
changed.
invoked. They're to be invoked. Got it. Okay.
Okay, guys. Perhaps we should take cover and maybe get to some high ground.
Hmm.
I agree.
Yep. That sounds like a reasonable plan.
So, do we see like a defensible position, maybe a tall building that we can effectively?
There are several tall buildings, yes. In fact, some of the buildings here are taller than buildings you've ever seen in your lives.
Nice. Does anyone know where we are?
Edward?
Unfortunately, there's not really any information in our time about the individual cities of this era, so your guess is as good as mine.
Oh, goodness.
Is it,
Perhaps we could look around for information somehow?
Just walk up to someone, ask them a couple of questions. Driz, you got this, right?
Just kind of looks to the doctor. Like, well, I guess our top priority is
anyone got investigated?
find out where the serum was originally being developed.
So we're in the middle of a combat zone, and we need to find where the serum went. Should we be trying to walk in a single direction to try and get out of what looks to be a set combat zone?
I mean, you don't know the area at all, so you could walk in any direction and assume you'd probably get out somehow, somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Prison pictures.
Yeah.
Anyone good at investigating in any way that can maybe try to look for some indication of where we are?
I do actually have some points to investigate, but
I'm trying to ask in character, but yeah.
Gotcha. I could try and build a report with some other people, assuming we don't have any more long arm bending scenarios. Sergeant's risk.
Just tell them not to try and shoot us.
That would be ideal. Herrera, would you care to accompany me as I scout out the area?
Of course.
Are you guys just like generally looking around, or are you like going to the high ground to look around, or what's your approach to this?
I think I'll take some high ground. Maybe get out some knocks and survey the area.
Okay, so you guys and gals, you walk around quite a bit. You can see that there's corpses littering the street, weaponry like just left. Like they didn't even bother confiscating their guns. They just killed them and moved on. So there's all kinds of firearm, like modern day firearms and stuff lying around.
So we didn't go back far enough.
Well, the fact that they're still fighting means it's before the accident.
I was kind of hoping we'd get before the fighting and maybe prevent the war, but I guess we have less time than we thought now.
Mm-hmm.
The war's already started, then we've got to find where the serum is being created.
If the sergeant sees any reasonable-looking handguns, he'll definitely pick it up and examine it, see if he can figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, there's weapons all over the place. There's.
I was about to say that too. Bob wants to look for fancy sniper rifles.
Yeah, I mean, roll a.
Pocket-sized handgun.
Both of you roll notice checks.
Isn't our technology better than theirs?
No, your guys is
We're steampunk.
worse. Your guys is like late Renaissance, early modern. Theirs is like information age. It's like today.
Oh!
We're steampunk because of post-apocalyptic.
They didn't revert to the late Renaissance,
They're
early modern
pre-apocalypse.
technology until the catastrophe happened, and they lost basically all their resources to create the modern stuff.
Cool. Yep.
All right, let's see. Bob, you are not able to find any particular weaponry you're like super well versed in, but you do find a couple handguns that look.
I'm looking for sniper rifles.
Yeah, you don't see any sniper rifles. There are some like
Find something. No.
short-barreled rifles and some handguns and stuff lying around that you could pick up, but you don't see any sniper rifles per se.
Okay.
Zris, did you want to do anything special there?
Nah.
No? Okay. You find a few guns, but most of them are pretty beat up and damaged. Maybe Herrera could repair them, but...
Hey, Tramer, you want any of these handguns? Couldn't find anything for me. Anyone else?
And Herrera, you've already taken off with Dr. Mason, right?
Yeah,
Scout?
I'm looking, scouting ahead.
You're able to find, similar to Bob, you're able to find some handguns and rifles and whatnot. Similarly, you don't find any sniper rifles or anything lying around. You'd probably imagine those would be in more appropriate locations.
Probably like in a good sniper position.
Yeah.
One if
So, Doctor, did you want to try this building here? It looks serviceable. Like it's not gonna like fall down as soon as we get and step into it.
Sure. We're gonna have a look.
Okay. So you guys go into a building. There's several shelving units. Like some of them are fallen over, some of them are just straight up destroyed. Some of them are still left standing and intact. The ones that are left standing intact still have some looks like food supplies on them, perhaps.
Eat it. We haven't seen real food in forever.
Mostly packaged goods.
I'm I want to like rip
Snack
open a
food.
ramen packet and just start crunching into noodles. Really confused.
No,
Open up the seasoning packet, pour it like, what is this?
Oh goodness.
Color.
Yeah, it looks like there does seem to be multi-level, the building you're in. There's staircases, and you've seen elevators before. They're not like this one, but you can kind of, you'd be able to tell that these are
Does it have
seated
power
elevators.
to the
There's no
elevator?
power to them, though.
Let's see if I can't maybe use the elevator to our advantage. Maybe like cut a cable and zip line up.
Okay. Roll a crafts check. Oh yeah, you're able to figure it out fairly quickly.
Oh no.
Max roll. You're able to figure it out super easily. And that's even with style. So I'd say that you'd create the aspect here that you actually coincidentally turn on the power to this place in your fiddling. So
Is it good? Rope start to the building.
your
Do I have-
particular scene, Jack and
percussive
Pedro, you're going to have a situational aspect of power on. So yeah, so you basically you not only create a zip line up, but you straight up return on the power of this place, and you could actually, if you wanted to, I even allow you to invoke the power on aspect for free and straight up say you repair the.
While the
Elevator?
building is
Yeah.
temporarily running, I want to see if I can do any scans of the computers. See if I can get like, a basic GPS. Like, tell
Have
me
you ever
where-
used computers before?
Okay. See
A
here.
punch clock analytical engine. That shouldn't
Is
be
there
too
like
different.
I'm not gonna say you can't do it. I'm trying to figure out what the opposition is for you to do it.
So wait a minute. I wouldn't do that if I've never used computers. I'm machine engineer, so I'm looking for any signs on the walls to kind of give us a bearing as like to where we are, like what kind of building this is. Is there any like?
Ooh, magazines or
Yeah.
posters or
Well, they're in the techno age, so I'm assuming there might be some, I don't know, hologram models that are.
Well, no, you're not that far in the future. You're like today in the real world. That's the level of technology you're at right now.
any neon signs.
So there are posters lying like along the walls and whatnot, and like flyers and such. And
Does it
you
say,
do
like,
see one
report to
particular
HR?
flyer that says, kind of like on the outside of the building, but just outside of the main doorway that you guys entered, and it says, "Best snacks in Falls."
That was best snacks in Falls.
Yeah, and it has like a cartoonishy picture of like a what's the word I'm looking for? Where it's like an object that's been
A
like
mascot.
personified. Starts with an A.
Anthropomorphic.
And yeah, that one.
Anthropomorphic.
Anthropomorphic like rice ball.
Ooh, that looks tasty. Why is he so cute and tasty looking? Okay, so we get to the top of the elevator and start looking around for our bearings and whatnot.
So
like,
you get to the top floor of the building. It looks like some kind of explosion probably went off in here. Likely something was, I don't know, who knows what happened. But there's a lot of charring on the ground and the walls. A lot of the furniture has been utterly destroyed. Windows are blown out. There is a section of the room that's like inset from the walls, and there looks what used to be a door on it, but the door's kind of like crumbled and mangled at this point. And you're not quite sure where it leads because it's like blocking your vision the way it's all destroyed. But you get the feeling you could probably, with some effort, could probably get it out of the way and go back there if you wanted to.
what kind of effort are we talking? Like some physique or some athletics?
Some like physique.
Ah! I got stomach cramps from eating all that food.
I was going to suggest you could probably use crafts if you wanted to do your thing. But yeah, I would let you invoke a craft-related aspect if you wanted to say, like, maybe use the wrench or something.
Doctor, you got anything?
Not that might move a door. Can I look around to see if there's any like rebar or like something sturdy lying about?
Yeah, you can look around. Roll a notice check.
Oh, you mean like my wrench? Are you looking for something to bleed?
Like your wrench.
Yeah, like you see that Herrera is like sitting there holding a wrench in her hand right next to you. There's also what looks like part of the wall has been like blown up and looks like some of the rebar infrastructure of like the structural foundation of the building is kind of like sticking out of the wall and like broken. You could probably repurpose that if you wanted. It's like a crowbar.
Because we're trying to push the door open, correct?
I mean, if that's what you want to do, sure.
Hera?
Okay, I'll give it a go. Let's see if we
You
can use
also,
our...
with that notice roll here, it almost sounds like a groan coming from the other side of the door.
Like a person groan? Or like a building settling?
Perhaps. Like
Is it a robot groan? Is
something
it like
organic, some sort.
organic? Okay.
Can I shout out to see if anybody answers back?
Sure. And you hear another groan.
Hera, I think there might be somebody in there. We should get to work on moving that door, or pushing it open at least. We might find ourselves a guide to get us out of here into a better situation.
Tell me stuff.
So we get to the door with our tools and we try and pry it open?
Crafts?
Both of us?
Sure, but Herrera just beats on it with a wrench till it falls over.
I'm gonna fix it good.
And on the other side is actually a staircase leading upward.
The
And-
staircase was groaning?
No, I haven't finished yet. So there's a staircase leading upward, and like lying or sitting on the staircase, like lying down kind of inclined, is a military armored clad man. Pretty rough shape. Looks like he's got one of those rebars like through his abdomen.
Ooh.
And he's bleeding pretty profusely. Probably doesn't have much time left.
That's not good. Can we tell what kind of like insignias he might have on? If they're like reminiscent of the other
It's
lady?
the same insignia that the lady you saw previously had, though the ranking emblems are quite different on him.
Well, Striz might know that, but not me.
I'm just saying, like
Okay.
they look quite different. You don't know what that means, but those other emblems on them look quite different than ours.
Gotcha. Could I try and stabilize him?
Sure, roll a lore check, and if you have any stunts related to that, feel free to use them.
Gotcha. Yeah, let me get my glasses, which is giving a +2 to create an advantage using lore when determining the weakness of an organic creature. So maybe seeing how injured their organs might be, if there's a rebar going straight through them.
Okay, I'll allow it. Go ahead and roll. It's a +2, it's a +8. You get looking at him, you get the idea that it didn't necessarily hit any vital organs, but it looks like he's been bleeding out for quite a while. So he's suffering more from blood loss at this point than any like actual real internal damage, and he's just like running low. It looks like he's just running low on blood.
Is he still conscious?
He's
or-
still conscious,
well,
though he's not super he's like holding on barely, kind of like you get the idea he probably wouldn't be able to speak very coherently. You'd have to like
that's not
stabilize him in order to do that.
Mhm. Eek. Mhm. Well, is
As
he
a
secured
doctor, you
against the
probably
rebound?
would have basic medical supplies on you. Like I would assume that.
Is he free from the building, or is he like secured against it?
No, he's not attached to the building. He's just got like it looks like when the explosion went off, a rebar
Mm.
like pierced him, kind of deal, like a harpoon.
Okay.
Good old shrapnel.
Alright, so what would I need to roll to like stabilize him to keep him from croaking?
That'll be another lore check.
Lore?
Yeah. Dang, dude. He's pretty hard. Like he's pretty fucked up at this point. So I would say it was probably a +4 opposition for that. So you do succeed. Just not with style. So you spend, you have enough medical supplies to make do, and you're able to quite painfully for him remove the shrapnel and clean the wound and dress it, and it's going to take a bit for him to be stable enough to where he could communicate coherently because he's got to replenish that blood, all the blood he's lost, but you think he's no longer on death's door at least.
Well, that's good. Lay him down and then have a look at the rest of the building. For the time being, let's go ahead and keep some of the weapons away from him, if he had any. I hand him over to AR.
Okay. He had a handgun and a combat knife on him.
Alright, I think it would be more prudent for you to hang on to these for the time being. I don't know how sane this individual might act once he comes to, but I definitely don't want him swinging around.
Okay, and you guys are looking around the rest of the building, you said? So how much time are you spending doing that? Is this something like...
Pause, guys.
What was that?
I need a...
Okay. Let's resolve this real quick, and then we'll decide if we want... I guess let's resolve it right now. Do we want to come back after he gets back? How are you going to do that? You said it'll be like an hour, 15 minutes-ish?
Yeah, hour and a half-ish. I don't know exactly.
We could resolve the current scene with Pedro and Jack, and then wait till Nathan gets back to finish the rest. Does that work for everyone, or
I'd be fine with that.
Pedro?
Sure.
Okay. So, yeah, Nathan, just let us know when you're back, and we'll resume with you and Tramer. In the meantime, Pedro and Jack will finish off this scene. We're probably nearing an end of a stopping point on it anyway. I'll say...
message you guys on Discord when I'm on my way back, and then
sounds good.
Get back here when I'm ready.
Cool.
So I guess,
So...
there you go.
Do I have a way of messaging them?
Okay, do you guys have a communication device of some sort?
I'd assume if the technology existed in our era, I assume we would have had it.
I'd say if it's like steampunk, I can send like a Morse code to the sergeant's mechanical hand, his prosthetic. He gets a little beep 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 for me.
Okay.
It's like a pager.
I'll allow that if you spend a fate point to make it canon. Because that's not something currently represented by aspects, but I would definitely allow that if you spend a fate point to do it.
Sergeant Zerk's prosthetic designer, he gets a little pager from me. Pager Sergeant.
I'm assuming you understand Morse code then at that point. So, what are you informing him via Morse code?
Ooh, it's gonna be like a short, simple sentence like, I don't know.
Pedro, while he's doing that, or she's doing that, you're messing around the room trying to find some stuff. You find that under some debris in the room, you find the corpse of someone who looks like they were crushed by said debris, and under their body looks to be a sniper rifle. It looks like they were probably sniping in here when they got hit with some kind of explosive device.
Unfortunate. Would I be able to retrieve the weapon without, what's the word? Getting blood on it and, messing with it? Or...
I mean, there's already blood on it. It's under the dude who is quite mangled at this point.
And you say he's underneath something else?
He's underneath, debris that you could clear with effort, with time. Basically. It's not like it's stuff that isn't liftable or anything.
Okay. Suppose I'll try and pull that sniper rifle out.
Okay. You don't need to roll or anything for that. You spend the time necessary to do that. And while he's doing that, Jack Herrera is sending off her message. And what was that message again?
Get up here.
Sounds like they're getting into trouble.
The code was "Get up here."
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's gotta be
Tramer,
nice.
you receive the signal and you understand its intent.
He receives the signal. Okay, now you just inspired me.
Then I guess him and Bob would start to follow and head up into the structure.
Okay, yeah, I mean, you saw the general direction they came from. Doesn't sound like Herrera gave any specific details on which building they were in, so you have to search around a bit, I suppose.
We're old-fashioned gamers. We didn't have fancy mini maps with quest waypoints. Okay, he has to track our movement.
So you could use notice to do that, or attempt to do that.
I guess we'll see if we notice.
So the opposition will be +2. So probably want to spend something there. I mean, they didn't go out of their way. At least they didn't claim they went out of their way to. Make their tracks evident, I guess. So
the doctor and I aren't necessarily good at hiding our tracks either.
Not that at all.
I guess he will invoke his relationship with Herrera and
I think
look for the telltale signs of her passing by, like things being smashed.
I bet you saw some.
Okay, that's a good one.
One building has power. That would be a telltale sign.
And it's like, yep.
Herrera's
There's lights
probably
on there.
Okay, I'll allow that.
This makes me think of Stranger Things with the lights on.
And that's technically a tie, so it'd be a success and a minor cost. So I would say, in this case, it's so evident, I don't think there would be a minor cost here. I would just treat it as a regular success. So, yeah, I mean, you see basically a beacon of light. Oh, you know what? There is, though. Here's the minor cost. You see this beacon of light that's basically in the middle of this city where nothing else has power.
He's turning my You're turning my epicness into a against me.
The sergeant just kind of blinks audibly, like, that is the biggest target I've ever seen.
Fuck! This is a good cyber resistant. We're like completely illuminated.
And you see a few individuals kind of looks like they're like trying to be stealthy about it, heading that way. But there's no cut. They're like leaving cover kind of deal and heading that direction.
Just face palms again. Pulls out his pistol. Bob, it looks like it's time to get back to work.
All right, that's where we're gonna end this right now. So
when we end this session, do we get our fate points back in the next session or
so,
the next?
So here's how this normally works. So I'm gonna be doing things a little bit different in this particular case since we're kind of having a split session here. But generally, at the end of a session, you get two things. One is you get all your fate points back at the start of the next session. Well, it's up to your refresh. So, like, if you have 2 out of your 3, you'd be at 3 of 3 at the start of next session. But if you had more than your refresh, then you don't lose them at the start of next session. So like if you had like 4 and your refresh was 3, you'd still have 4 at the start of your next session. In addition to that, at the end of a session, you normally get what's called a minor milestone in Fate Core, but I think in Fate Condensed they just call it a milestone, where you can do one of several things, which is, I always forget what they are off the top of my head. One's like rename an aspect, except your high concept, that one's off limits. If my browser decides to work. So you can either switch the rank values of any 2 skills, or replace an average +1 skill with one that isn't on your sheet. Or you can change any single stunt for another stunt. Or you can purchase a new stunt, provided you have the refresh to do so. Just remember, you can't go below 1 refresh. Or you can rename one character aspect that isn't your high concept. And the thing I'm going to do differently this time, since we have this like 1 hour break, is I'm going to treat this break as a milestone. So you won't get your fate points back, but you will be able to do one of those 4, well, technically 5 things right now, and then you'll be able to do it again at the end of the session later.
So most of them sounded like just changing what you already have, but
right, it's more lateral movement than like advancement.
Well, 2 of them sound like actual improvements. You said you could take 1 score and make it a +1?
No. So you can switch the rank values of any 2 skills. So like you could switch your fight, the values of your fight and your shoot, for instance, or whatever.
The last one was you said you could get another stunt?
So at any milestone, you can purchase a stunt in exchange for spending 1 of your refresh. So like right now you have 3 refresh. You could let yourself have only 2 refresh, which means you start every session with only 2 fate points. But in exchange, you'd have an extra stunt.
Okay, I want none of those.
Yeah, so they're more mostly more lateral things.
I think Herrera is pretty good. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have a feeling I won't be using Pilot anytime soon. I put 3 points into Pilot.
Okay.
You're not going to drive a vehicle or a motorcycle?
I don't know. Doesn't look like
maybe we might find a tank here soon.
Maybe.
And keep in mind, too, you can do this at the end of every session. So, like, if you feel like this session you're not going to be doing much piloting, you could change it. And then, you know, at the end of if you feel like next session you probably got to do more piloting, you could change it again, kind of deal.
See, like, I put points into fight and shoot, but I used to use crafting for my wrenching strikes. So I feel like I could probably just change those around.
Really, you could probably change around fight. Yeah, you probably don't need fight since you use crafting for wrenching strikes. For shoot, you may still have some advantage if you're going to be using long range attacks, because you don't. I think your stunt only lets you use it for melee attacks, if I remember correctly.
Correct, absolutely. Yeah. But that's just not who that kind of putting points into shoot kind of like. I only had 1 point in shot because of the EMP blast.
Yeah.
But I really don't see her shooting. She's not much of a. I mean, she fights, but she's not like a soldier.
Right.
Like,
so at this particular milestone, you could switch one of those. Like you could swap it with another skill. Or replace like your shoot with a skill you aren't already trained in, since it's only +1.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So am I going to be using Investigate or Lore more? I think the Doctor has the Lore covered. Doctor, how are you in Investigate?
Investigate. +3.
I'd say what people don't have a lot of, it seems, is Notice.
No, that's me.
You have Notice? Oh, okay. Nice.
I'm the observant one looking for which screw I need to pull out to crank the wrench this way, to add torsion to this, to turn it into a pipe bomb.
All right. So this is a recap on the lay of the land. Hera, for some reason, moved out of her circle. Herrera and Dr. Mason and your newly medically challenged comrade here is on the top, or are on the top floor.
I know where we
Nobody
are now.
was
We're
that.
in Soviet Russia.
Nobody is currently on the bottom floor that you all know of. Sergeant Tramer and Bobbert are out on the street on their way to meet up with the others. There is currently a group of soldier-looking individuals approaching the building, and they're in the courtyard area currently, so they're like in between Bob and Tramer and the rest of the group right now. So we are going to kick this off with a conflict, and yeah, I'll let you guys decide who goes first. See how to do this. So I will say that at least currently, Dr. Mason and Herrera probably don't notice the individuals approaching from down below since no one's signaled that. However, Bob and Tramer do notice them, and Bob and Tramer, you would notice that there seems to be a sizable group of them that seems to be led by one person, and like seems to be higher ranked probably. It's like, issuing orders and whatnot. So just as a heads up, that there does seem to be a leader among them.
Okay.
So what did I miss?
Nothing currently. Oh, were you gone just now?
No.
Oh no, we didn't do it. We were waiting on you. We didn't.
You said you saw a leader, and I'm like,
Oh yeah, the I mentioned before we broke off for the extended break that Tramer saw that as he was approaching the beacon-like building, that there were some people approaching it from the courtyard area, some soldiers looking like. Whether they're on your side or not, hard to say.
Missed that. Okay.
But I mentioned that Herrera and Dr. Mason probably wouldn't have realized that since they were up on the top floor dealing with the one dude. He didn't make an active attempt to do so. So yeah, who's going first in this one?
First a question. Do they seem similarly dressed to the other individual we ran into?
They are all in military garb. From your distance, you can't really make out details, so it's hard to say if they have the same emblems or whatnot. But they definitely are very obviously soldiers of some sort. You can't, from where you're at and from their actions, you don't really know if they're being if they're hostilely approaching the place or if they're scoping it out, what the deal is there. But they are progressively moving towards the building. There's about 6 individuals aside from the leader individual, so 7 in total.
Okay. Through this Morse code device, do I have the means to return a message?
I would say yes, but it can only be like a few words.
7 incoming courtyard.
See, this is why you're the mentor, Tramer. My first thought was, I'm a snipe the leader.
Now remember, you don't currently have a sniper rifle right now. So you have your rifle, but you're still pretty far away. You could attempt it, but it would be quite a challenge.
Or
Driss,
more Mike.
Driss is gonna kind of give him like a hand signal to like hide, and Driss is gonna attempt to kind of stealth forward and try and get into the bottom floor. If it looks like there's a means of cover to try and circumvent them.
There's all kinds of debris and cars and all kinds of stuff littering the street, so you could definitely sneak your way over there if you're stealthy enough.
I'm sure I still remember military hand signs to communicate.
I didn't. Some reason it said new template. I guess the token name wasn't transferred over. But who said that? I moved my fight +1 to my stealth. Was that Herrera?
Yeah, that was Herrera.
Okay.
So I guess that would be a stealth roll?
Yes.
Okay. Not bad.
And it would be against their notice rolls. Really. Yeah, I mean, I'd say you're able to make it through to the bottom floor without being noticed, Tramer.
Okay. And he'll as he's moving out, he'll kind of signal for Bob to attempt to follow, if he chooses to do so.
Okay, are you going to give him the next turn then?
Yes.
Okay. So Bob, it's your turn. Tramer has just signaled for you to attempt to follow him stealthily to the bottom floor.
Maybe I should be leading.
Ooh.
You don't have giant mechanical metal limbs trying to sneak. Riz did good.
I don't even think. Yeah, these guys can't even succeed.
Sergeant goes to tell him to move ahead, and then he looks back and he can't see him. And he looks forward and he's like still right past him.
Yeah.
So you both make it to the bottom floor of the building successfully, and you see what the others saw when they first made it here as well. The interior is quite damaged. It's mostly like busted shelving units and whatnot. There are still some shelving units still standing, and those that are still standing have some look like packaged food on them, and some book-like stuff. Probably get the idea it's some kind of shop or convenience store of some sort. There is an elevator towards the rear that seems to be operational currently.
Let's see. The message had been to head up, so he'll assume the elevator. Well,
Jack,
it's not my turn.
While you stepped away, Tramer did signal back to you. What was the wording you used again, Tramer?
7 in the courtyard.
Yep, 7
Yep.
incoming.
Cool. Okay, gotcha. Make sure you got that. Okay, Bob, who are you giving the next turn to?
Wait, which one did Tramer send the signal to?
Herrera.
Give it to Herrera with the signal.
Okay.
Assuming I know that Tramer was contacting Herrera specifically.
I mean, you would have heard the beeps and whatnot, so.
Oh. Do I know Morse code too then?
I don't know. Do you have reason to?
Military? I don't know.
Yeah, you probably would, being in the military.
It's
yeah.
like something he would use regularly then.
Yeah, I would assume so. Sounds
Right.
reasonable.
So I know what it said.
So, Herrera, you're up.
Doctor, looks like we got company.
What, more corpses out here? Or,
No, not unless the dead can rise.
that's a scary thought. So who do we have coming here? More injured? Is Riz and Bob on their way?
I don't know, but I think we should probably either move this guy, get out of here, or we should get into a defensive or offensive position.
I see. Could I take some time to put like the body next to a wall and sort of like cover him to keep him from being seen?
When it's your turn,
Your
certainly.
patient?
Gotcha.
So, no, go ahead. Go ahead, cover your patient.
He is still. I mean, did you move him out of the hallway when you were treating him? Where's he at right now? Like, where'd you leave him?
I probably would have left him like at the stairway where I put him on like on flat ground so he's not like
It's like
awkward.
the entrance to the stairway.
Hmm.
Okay. So yeah, he'd be there still. So there is a doorway now. The door no longer is there, but the doorway's still there. So he's at least not immediately visible if someone did come in.
Was Sarah gonna do something else with the information they have?
Herrera still has an action to do whatever she wants to do.
I'd like to get to the edge of the building, see if I can't get a good... The whole point of coming up here in the first place was to scout the area.
I mean,
So
you
I'd
walk
like-
over. You walk over. it doesn't take an action to do this, but you walk over to the edge of the building where the windows were blown out, and you peer down to the courtyard below, and you do see the 7 individuals making their approach.
Other than the fast approaching conflict that's coming, lay of the land, what do I see? Am I surrounded metropolitan, or can I see past this city?
You can't see past the city, but you can see tons of buildings.
Like,
it's very metropolitan, yeah. It's very urban.
Any
Built high,
geographical
better than
features?
wide. What was that?
Mountains, any geographical features? Mountains, islands, forests?
From what you can see some mountains off in the distance, like between buildings. That's about all you can see from here. You can't. There's so many it's a very densely built area, so you can only see like in between like narrow slits between the buildings around you. But you do see some mountains off in the distance.
So I didn't get high enough. I want to get to the roof. So I guess my action would be.
So I could certainly make another zone that is the roof if you wanted to move there, and you could.
I want an unobstructed view of what's going on around.
Okay. Let me do that real quick. It's still not going to take your action to do this because there's nothing impeding your movement to move up there. So let me. Actually, let me do it this way.
Please tell me. Please no, GM.
So if I understand correctly, there's still the UWG right now, right?
Mm-mm.
No, the
They're not around
UWG
anymore.
disbanded when everyone took to the skies and arcs.
And that's how.
So
We're back in
Oh,
time.
you mean like
They-
right
they-
now? Like, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, right now, yes.
So would any of us be aware of that organization? 'Cause it
So the
sounds like all
UW. So let me
information's
clarify.
been
The
lost.
UWG doesn't exist right now. This is pre-UWG.
Okay.
This is right now. There's still disparate world governments. They're all fighting over various resources because there's a resource scarcity.
So the UWG was after the Cataclysm when they were still underground before they made the Ark.
Yeah, right, exactly. The UWG started right after the Cataclysm happened, and then it disbanded before they took to the skies. So it wasn't around very long, maybe like 50 or 60 years, something like that.
Have you
We
tried
have no knowledge of who.
draw polygon?
So you get up to you dash up to the roof and run to the edge and kind of jump up on the edge to take a look what's going on. At this point, you're high enough to where you can get a better vantage point. The city seems to be quite dense, but also quite large. So it was built both vertically and horizontally. It seems to be. You can probably get the feel that it probably was at some point. Probably is not anymore, but was a capital of some nation. And you can barely peer past the edge of the last, set of buildings, and see that there's actually like well paved roads and whatnot leading out, and there's like on the other side of the road there's like not forests but treed areas and grasslands and whatnot. So it's not like completely
Do I know what a forest is?
Eyes can see.
Or do I know what trees are?
I mean, you've read enough of history to know what trees are.
Yeah, I'll be using my binoculars, staring at the trees like, oh my god.
Yeah, this would probably be your
no.
first time seeing them in person. Though I would say that Arcadia probably did have like trees they grew using seeds they took with them, if only for decoration and or other foliage like plant life would probably be artificially created to create food and whatnot. So you probably have seen them, probably not seen natural ones before though.
It's beautiful. Okay.
And probably not pine trees like you probably see here, like evergreens.
Yeah, so now that I got like the lay of the land, I'm gonna save that in my little mental image file. My navigational spank bank, and let's see if this isn't going to impede any of my movements. Then I guess I'm going back to the doctor.
So you can only, if you're going to move back to the doctor, that would probably take your action if you're going to go all the way back now.
Okay.
That cool with you? Okay. And I'm assuming you're giving the doctor the next turn, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Can
Dr.
we choose
Mason, you're up.
Doctor, I saw trees.
one?
Oh, lovely. Well, I definitely want to hide the guy, or at least put him closer to safety. But I'm also considering making some sort of makeshift alarm. Is there like a stairway on the stairway?
So there's a stairway that the guy's currently laying in front of that goes up to the roof, and then
Right.
there's another stairway. This stairway only goes from this floor to the roof. There's no other stairs there, but there is on the other side of the room a stairway that goes down, like to each floor kind of deal.
Right. So I'm assuming I could see that. Would I be able to make some sort of makeshift alarm with like the snacks and cans and rope
You
around
could attempt
the
to.
floor?
You could roll a crafts check to attempt it. That would be a created advantage check. I would say before you roll, the passive opposition for that will probably be pretty high because you're limited on what you have to make it with. I would say +3 would be the passive opposition.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Maybe it's not gonna end well.
Back to it.
Go and roll it.
Would I be able to roll resources for that? Or does it have to be crafts?
You
I
could
would-
you phone a friend.
I would say it'd have to
I'd
be.
like to find a friend.
I would say it'd have to be
Carrera?
crafts. But I already gave you the passive opposition, so you're kind of committed
Okay.
at this point.
Gotcha.
So it's not terrible. There are scene aspects you could use. Maybe I don't know. Maybe use scattered debris or shrapnel or something. Somehow creatively.
Yeah, rig the shrapnel to fall down on those cans as soon as someone walks through it. Actually, just put the shrapnel down so that it makes noise when people step through it.
Making an alarm or a trap?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so you're wanting to spend a fate point to invoke that one.
Yes.
Okay, how are you doing on fate points right now, by the way?
I think my max is 3. I think I spent 1, so I'm at 2, so now I would be at 1.
Okay. So you do so, and you get an extra +2 to your roll. That brings you at a tie. So you, for now at least, that'd be considered a success. There will probably be a minor cost in there somewhere at some point.
How does that work?
So when you tie a roll, depending on the type of roll, but most actions when you tie a roll, you succeed at a minor cost. So you get what you're after, but then some other like minor thing comes up to complicate things somewhere. It may be immediate. It may come later. It's hard to say.
So,
Yeah.
quick question: when you're trying to aid somebody, or if you're thinking about like creating an advantage, do you have to specify or like talk about it with the other player before, so you can coordinate the actions before you set like a
Right.
DC,
So when you create an advantage, you have to do it before the action that the player is doing, and you have to specify what advantage you're creating.
Mhm.
You don't necessarily have to talk it over with the person, but if you want to create something that that person's going to really benefit from, it can behoove you to talk it over with them. Because like you could create an advantage and just give them the free invoke, and they could, as long as it makes sense that they could take advantage of that advantage, then you can just give it to them, and they can use it how they see fit. Or you can work with them to come up with something that really makes sense between the two of you. It's up to you how you want to do it. But the point is, you have to create the advantage before that person takes the action, kind of deal. So that's kind of like where the choosing who goes next thing can kind of be tactical in a way. Because you can think, okay, if I create this advantage, and then he creates this advantage and passes on both his advantage he makes and my advantage, then the person that goes after him has like 3 advantages they can take advantage of, and just fucking nail something, right? So it's like that's kind of the whole creating advantage thing is an economy that you don't always necessarily want to use it as soon as you have it. Sometimes it's better to pass it on and keep passing it on until somebody you really want to use it uses it. So
And how do you create? Do you have to spend a fate point on an aspect specifically?
no, creating advantage is one of the 4 actions. So you can attack, you can defend, you can create an advantage, or you can overcome. Creating an advantage is on your turn, you can do anything that creates an advantage, and it creates a situational aspect on the scene with a free invocation.
Read those. Yeah. Okay.
Speaking of which, the aspect you just created, I'll say, we'll call it alarming trap.
Okay.
Oop, that's not context.
But it only affects the top floor.
Right. Oh, why did it put that? Yeah, I guess it's practically a zone aspect, so I'll put it in the zone here.
He's in the zone.
So, did you want to do any moving before you end your turn, Dr. Mason? Okay, so you're good where you're at. All right, then that will bring us. Well, I guess, do you want the? Well, I guess it's technically me as the player, so I will say the.
What you say?
That you only went well?
I would say that
Of course you did.
they wouldn't really know you guys are on the top floor, so they're probably going to go in, storm the bottom floor here, and they are going to.
Where's Edward?
Where is Edward? Edward probably would have been hiding right now, honestly. He's not much of a combatant.
Okay.
We'll say he's back here on the streets somewhere.
The sniper.
So what they're gonna do a breach, basically. So they're gonna basically toss in a flashbang and roll to create an advantage there. So that would just be technically we consider that a shoot. Position's not very high since there's not really anything. I mean, you guys can actively oppose it if you want somehow. If you can get creative enough.
And defend with a flashbang.
You can defend with something. It's not actually like touching you guys, but
You said it was the area was kind of like a shop, so I assume there might be like a counter something could try and jump behind if covered, seeing some kind of explosive device being thrown in.
Well, yes, you could. He's right now trying to create an advantage, though, not attack. So,
Can I use my telekinesis to try to send
yeah,
it
I guess it would technically be an advantage against you guys. I'm not sure how flashbang would be mechanically implemented, actually.
Is it an attack or is it an advantage?
It's an advantage, but I'm trying to think if it would be an advantage on them individually. I would say it'd be on the scene. So you could.
Wouldn't we get a defend action, basically?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't think so. Flashbang sounds like it's not going to do any physical damage, and it's not going to do any mental damage,
Yeah.
so I don't think it's an attack.
Yeah, it's not an attack. It's definitely creating an advantage. And it's on the scene more than anything. So I'd say it'd probably be actually against passive opposition, which would be fairly low because there's.
You can defend against someone trying to create an advantage on you, Seth.
Yes,
Or-
but I'm saying it. They're not trying to create an advantage on you. They're trying to create an advantage on the scene.
I see.
They don't even know you're in there. They're just doing a breach and entry kind of deal.
Okay.
So I'd say
So-
they probably got a situational aspect there that's fleeting,
So
just on that
can we
zone.
try to do something to avoid it, or is it just in effect on us? We weren't prepared.
I mean, you didn't do anything on your turn to prepare, so there's nothing you can really do at this point, I would say.
Okay. So we have,
If you were already hiding behind one of the
Dazed and
things, then it'd be different, I think. But
Dazed and deafened.
what was that?
Dazed and deafened? What are we calling this? It's my guess.
It's just a situational aspect that lasts basically one turn.
Oh, you're just calling it new text. I see.
I don't know.
Blank.
I haven't written the text yet. It's just what it defaults to.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Trying to think what to call it.
Dazed and deafened.
Yeah. Well, I would say blinding light.
Blinded by the light.
It's on additional map zone. And that'll be their turn as they move in. And this guy is going to come in after them. And he's going to take cover behind. So taking cover doesn't really because he's not. I guess he create advantage by taking cover. So that would be. Doesn't matter because he doesn't have anything that would matter anyway. This one would be taking cover from you guys. So you would be able to roll like a... actually, no, that would be against passive opposition too. That would create a situation aspect on him. This is where it gets kind of tricky with the rules of fate, is like, who is actually the target of the action? And that turn... So like, next turn, when you guys go to attack, he has the aspect under cover, which doesn't really do anything unless he invokes that aspect. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Can you guys, by the way, can you fix your tokens so that when you type in the chat, it says your name and not new template, so I know who's talking? So if you go to your token and select the token tab, and then change the name.
Okay.
It says selected error, so why is it not? That's weird.
What? Oh. You got that. Oh, good.
All right. So there's a situational aspect on the Merc Captain right now. Take cover. That lasts until he leaves cover. So that brings us to the top of the round. I'm going to say I want... Well, I'll let you guys decide who goes first. I don't care.
Serious? Top of the round?
So I heard a flashbang downstairs, or am I so high up in this building that I didn't hear a flashbang detonate downstairs?
You're quite high up, so you probably wouldn't have heard it.
So
you probably
how
would
high
have.
am I?
You're near the windows, though. I'm assuming, yeah.
How high am I?
You're on the top floor of like a 30-story building.
So you're saying I'm thoroughly baked?
You're high as a kite.
Yes.
But if you're near the windows, you might have saw the light protruding down from below, though.
Okay, so I'm going to see light before I hear sound. Just checking.
Didn't work.
You want to go first?
Let somebody else go first. I'm so pondering.
Doctor, is your patient stable?
He should be. I mean, there's not much else I could do without any proper facilities.
I have a feeling we're going to need some more of your medical supplies shortly.
Why would you say that?
I'm going to go downstairs. I saw a big flashing light down there.
Oh, it's just a lightning bug. They had those back in the old days, I think.
Yeah, there were 7 soldiers who just went into the building.
Oh.
All right, so Herrera's taking her turn. She's moving down to the bottom floor. Herrera, as soon as you... I mean, you're taking the elevator, I'm assuming, right?
Sure.
As soon as you open those elevator doors...
I like the idea of zip cording down, but that just sounds dangerous.
I mean, you can if you want. It's up to you.
I'm not dying today.
Okay. As soon as those elevator doors open, you catch a glimpse of Tramer and Bob standing off against what seems to be a large number of soldiers types who had just entered the building, and you see like part of a person behind one of the shelving units down here seems to be taking cover.
Let's see here. Let's. What do you guys feel like? You feel like we should totally go with the flow, or should we subvert John's expectations?
You guys
I hear
do
one
whatever you
giggle.
want to do.
Which one is which?
Hiding his face, is that a second giggle?
Which one is which?
So I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna holler out, you know, we come in peace. We don't mean any harm.
Sure.
The soldiers hesitate for a moment. I mean, it's still your turn, so until you resolve your action, I can't really do anything with them.
Okay.
And then you kill them all.
I mean, but you can at least like. You're a storyteller. I literally said something. They can respond. It's still
Right, but
they
it's
can
like kind of like the heat of the moment. They're like, they still have their guns pointed at you, but they're kind of looking at each other like, what do we do? They kind of look to their captain, and he just kind of looks back. He starts to like analyze the situation.
So you're in charge?
I am.
With what regiment are you from?
Who are you people?
We're just trying to survive in the city.
You don't look like you're from around here.
We're totally not from around here.
I'm not one to trust people so willingly.
Well, I
You have to
did
excuse
just get
my
this building.
hesitation here.
I just got this building up and running, and then y'all showed up.
Why
so-
would you want to get this building up and running at this point?
Let's see here. Why would I want to?
I'm gonna need you to roll. At this point, you're gonna have to use your action to like roll a rapport check or something.
Yeah.
So we're still in the middle of
absolutely.
structured conflict. So
Why not? You said report?
yeah.
One of my
What was it?
best ones.
What was that about? No social conflicts? Really?
That's why I said time to subvert the expectations.
Well, it's not.
Yeah.
It's still not a social conflict. It's just a social action in a conflict.
Oh.
So
So this isn't going to ever result in not violence.
give me a second to think this one out real quick.
Yes. It did work. Pedro.
Good.
Well, I'm thinking that I am not going to be able to dissuade these people or get any more information out of them.
I'm trying to remember what the. Oh, I remember. I think.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's it. She rolls empathy. Oh boy.
Hmm.
Well, it's still technically a success, but he looks at you and he doesn't really have a good reason to trust you right now, especially when two of your comrades have taken up arms against them.
You guys have arms at them, or do they even know you're in there?
When did we point our guns at them?
Like, you have your guns out, right?
Oh.
But did they know that we were there?
They do now because they entered. They didn't before they entered, but also this blinding light is no longer here.
Interesting. I got down just before the fighting started. Okay. I didn't realize they knew that. I didn't realize that they had they breached in there, but I didn't realize I thought they were just breaching the building because it was electrified. It was lit up.
They didn't know they were in there until they got in there and they saw them standing there because they didn't in their turns they didn't attempt to hide or anything. So they're literally just standing in the bottom floor right now, and these guys breached
Probably
in.
concussed.
Yeah, quite concussed probably at this point.
Okay. Then yeah, my buddies are not going to be able to fight, so this is probably actually the best.
Actually,
anyway.
it hasn't gone back around to them, so that blinding light actually would still be.
Well, you don't really need to trust an unarmed civilian, now do you?
You're unarmed. Are you with them?
Yeah, we're not trained soldiers like you guys. That's just arms to protect ourselves with. We have pretty basic looking weapons to them, yeah?
I mean, you don't have any weapon at all, really, other than a wrench, and they've got crude firearms and looking like they just left the cosplay convention.
Right, so we totally look like just civilians with
But
basic...
that makes you guys even more suspicious. Like, why... You're in the middle of a war zone after everyone's been evacuated. Why would there be civilians here? And why would you be trying to get this place lit up again?
I have no fucking clue, John.
No, I'm asking you in character. That's the mercenary captain. That's the mercenary captain talking to you right now.
Some people are just trying to survive, looking for food and basic amenities.
They lower their guns, and I guess we'll end the conflict there.
And then we shoot them.
Now we're gonna take them to the top floor and then push them over the edge.
Of course.
Where are you from? You said you're not from around here. The mercenary captain speaks out.
I just saw the forest, so yeah. I'm gonna say from out of town.
Right. We established that already, but where? You have to. You at least know where you're from, right?
I really don't know where I'm from. Let's see here. Do I know of any places that I could be from? Because I don't know history far enough back.
I know that's the thing. Is you guys don't have any knowledge of this area.
Okay.
You do remember the name Falls.
Thank you. I was just gonna say that. I was like, I remember seeing the magazine and it had some like places and stuff. Do I know of any of those places in those magazines that I saw?
So you saw the flyer that said best snacks in Falls. So you probably assume that you're in Falls. I don't think you spent any time looking through the magazines.
No, I was trying to get my bearings. I'm from just outside of Falls, I guess.
Roll a deceive check.
Also not my best. Why am I doing all the social
Seems
stuff?
pretty good, though.
God, Jack, have you gotten any bad rolls yet?
Hey.
He rolled a -2 his last roll.
Come here.
They roll a -2 their last roll.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Hush.
Yeah.
Hush. You just stop trying to teach me. Now all my rolls are gonna be shit, poor, bad. It's all gonna be your fault.
Oh, shit, keep doing that. Oh.
Mentioned Jinx.
Let's see here. There's not really he can invoke here that makes much sense. So he's going to believe you. However, I am going to compel you, Jack.
Yeah.
You have the trouble runs from problems.
This is true.
I will offer you a fate point if instead of trying to resolve this situation amicably, you instead
no.
just try to get out of there.
Oh, jeez.
Oh no.
Push up on the elevator.
Did her ever step out of the elevator?
You have one fate point remaining. You could spin to reject that compel. Or you could accept the compel and gain a fate point.
Well, thanks, bye.
They look at you confused as you push the elevator button and start to ascend back to the top floor.
You made the right choice.
Now the question is, do you block the... Tramer, Bob, you guys are just witnessed Herrera just totally dip from the situation. And you're now stuck down here with 7 heavily armed individuals who are obviously professionally trained and good at what they
Did we
do.
even see that?
How are you going to handle the situation?
How is
Well,
your
seems-
trouble come first? That's a really good choice.
Hmm?
Also, Dr. Mason, what are you doing up there? You see Herrera come back up the elevator by herself.
Just ask her if everything's okay. Did you find who she was looking for?
Say what?
Did you see anybody down there on your little journey?
Oh, just our friends at gunpoint. We should probably get out of here.
Wait, what?
You think you can move the patient?
Oh, jeez. What would be too... Well, like, can I pick him up?
Together, we can make a litter.
You could use teamwork. Who has the better physique out of the two of you?
Physique. Are you better than a 0?
Okay, you could add a +1 to him. It's teamwork, so you could do a +2. That'd easily be able to carry him with that. Where are you attempting to go with him, though?
Yeah, where are we going, Hera? I mean, you just came from downstairs, so what's our plan here?
Anywhere but here. We could take the stairs. We could go to another building. I mean, I'm sure we can fashion some sort of zip line across.
Sounds dangerous, but if we got company coming from downstairs, I suppose that might be the better option.
We just have to decide: is it more dangerous than 7 armed men?
No, it is not. Wait, where's Riz and Bob?
I'm sure they can take
Where
care of
are
themselves. I bought them
Riz
some
and
time.
Bob? What are you guys doing down
I
there?
bought them some time.
Oh,
Give them a
goodness.
+2 to recover from that flashbang.
Yeah, you did do that actually. Just in time for us to see you leave in the elevator. Oh. So was that?
I'm still waiting to hear how you guys are going to handle this situation downstairs.
Okay. Let's see. Is Rish recovered from the flashbang, or?
Yeah, at this point, the flashbang would have would have dissipated. And...
Effect gone.
You know what? He is going to attempt to, while the as soon as he sees kind of negotiations have broken down, and Herrera's heading back up, he's going to try and take advantage and take the leader off guard.
Oh, okay.
Sturge, I thought you were the senior officer here with the more experience.
So to be clear, are you trying to create an advantage for Bob, or are you trying to attack him directly?
That's what I was just deciding.
Like you could like grapple him or knock. I don't know.
These people have never seen
Distract
magic, right?
Yeah, they've never telekinetic powers don't exist yet. Remember that. So you are currently the only person in the entire world with those powers.
You are God.
Haha.
You know what?
Worship
I'm going
me.
to try and grapple him
Worship
and
me.
to try and give advantage for Bob.
The blows brain outs with my telekinesis.
Okay. Roll a, I guess, physique check. He's going to invoke his aspect. Let's see, he's going to invoke his aspect, brawn and brains. Just take a +2 to that. That will reduce the shift to 1, so it's still a success, but it's no longer a success with style, which he's happy with. So he'll get the temporary situational aspect grappled, and you get a free invoke on that you can probably want to pass on to Bob.
Yep.
And then I'm assuming Bob's going next, so go ahead and do your thing, Bob.
Couldn't he use clockwork upgrades to increase that?
If he wanted to succeed with style, he could invoke clockwork upgrades to attempt
Can't
to...
I invoke that on him?
No, so the only way you can invoke another player's aspect is hostily or compel it.
So I could burn a fate point to invoke clockwork, right?
Yes. I don't know how you're sitting on. You're sitting on 2 fate points.
Oh,
You're due
okay.
for a compel soon, anyway. We need to do something about. I don't think I've compelled you yet this game.
No, I'm gonna stick with the standard success.
Okay.
So that's a boost.
Yeah, you get a free invocation. Not a boost. You get a free invocation of the grappled aspect that's sitting on the mercenary captain right now.
Okay.
We should have given you some kind of area of effect stunt. You know that? I'm trying to drop the ball on that one.
Me?
Yeah, we should have created some kind of area of effect stunt for you for your telekinetic powers. Keep that in mind for when you can change your stunts around again. Maybe consider that.
I have something like that, but it's meant for machines. I thought we were going to be fighting robots.
I mean, you haven't encountered the tanks yet. It's pretty close to robots.
Aren't their weapons probably advanced enough that the EMP would mess them up? I feel like
it depends. Their weapons are mostly normal guns, like from today. So most of them aren't electronic based. EMP only affects electronics, and most modern firearms aren't electronic. So
don't modern firearms usually have like computers in them?
No.
Control?
They would. I mean, the sights and stuff usually have them, but no, in modern firearms don't have electronics in them.
Sights at least, yeah, but like a pistol one. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have a stunt for that, but how significant of like big of an ESP thing could I do for one mental strain?
I mean, you can do whatever you want as long as it only affects one person,
Okay, well, affecting one person.
who in this
Okay,
case would
yeah.
probably be the mercenary captain.
Yeah. So anything, the limit is one person.
Yeah.
Unless
For this use case, yeah.
Okay, I can do that. I am gonna try to lift him.
To what?
Lift the.
Okay, in that case, you would not roll will. You would roll
No,
probably
like telekinetically.
probably for lifting. I would say physique.
Telekinetically.
Yeah. Still, it would be what you're trying to do.
Okay, I see. Would that be the same for like taking his weapon and any loose equipment and lifting him?
What do you mean taking his weapon as a
Would
weapon?
that, like lifting up his weapon and any loose equipment he has, would that also be a physique?
Just his weapon as equipment? Yeah, but you can only do one or the other this turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would still be physique. 'Cause you're lifting something, so it would be physique.
Okay. Because I don't have physique.
You do have a free invocation, though. And
Yeah.
I guess what are you trying to do? What are you ultimately trying to do by lifting his equipment? Like, what would be the aspect you created on him?
I'm trying to alarm him. Create like, I am God. I have magical abilities.
Intimidate.
Okay, in that case, I would not make you roll physique. I would make you roll something like provoke, because that's what you're ultimately trying to do is provoke him.
Okay. I don't really have that either. But okay.
And remember, you do have that free invocation, so that'd be a +1. And he can roll, but he doesn't have empathy as a skill, so he's not gonna.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So it's
So like,
+1 is a win then.
so yeah, +1 is a success. So
Okay. Yeah, I can't really think of anything to. I think I'm good with that. I don't need to bother trying.
no,
to...
I mean you succeeded in what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm saying I don't think I want to try
Oh.
to go for my invoking
gotcha.
aspect. Yeah. Cool.
So he kind of looks at you. He's like, kind of taken aback, shocked, steps back on his rear foot. This is like his weapons and gear is just like floating in front of him. He's like, "What the hell are you?"
Wouldn't you like to know?
His
Attacking us isn't such a good idea.
They hesitate for a moment as they kind of look amongst each other. They start to back away slowly. Look, man, we don't want any rough business here. We're just doing a job, all right?
That's good. I don't either. You're the one pointing guns at us and sending a flashbang at us.
He grabs a grenade off of one of his men's belts. He tosses it and then runs.
Oh. Left his men?
His men follow suit, but it's not their turn yet. So
Where did he toss it?
that would be a. I say it's athletics. It's throwing.
Well, that lack of conflict didn't work.
It's a tie, so it succeeds at a cost. Actually, he was throwing it at you guys. So go ahead and pick one of you to roll in defense of it. Roll athletics in defense.
I've got a +2.
I've got a +1.
He's going to. Well, I said one of you, so Tramer did it first, so you're going with the +2.
Yeah. What I said.
Okay.
Oh, you mean you have a +2 as your skill? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We were discussing which one
Gotcha.
of us would do that.
All right. Well, Shamer rolled, so
Yes, because I said I have a +1.
Yeah.
So he said go.
okay, gotcha.
Roll those dice.
Yeah, that's a
now,
bad roll.
in this, could I invoke like clockwork upgrades and try and like
Shield yourself.
that, or even try and like swat the grenade back?
Sure, you could do that.
Boost the physical.
Also, he's no longer got this. So you get a +2, you get a +1. He's going to use another fate point to invoke Brawn and Brains again to,
What?
suggest he can throw it hard enough and well enough to where you wouldn't be able to do that, kind of negate your idea. So that brings the shift back to +1.
Mm.
And that brings me down to 6 fate points.
You could probably like cover it, Tramer, and then maybe you're stunned to recover. You're stunned to recover, maybe, or something.
What was that?
I'm going to just use a Tramer, I'm gonna use a compel on your grizzled veteran aspect to know that letting these guys go is probably not the best option. Now that they know he's a power user, effectively, it's probably not good to let that information leak. Especially knowing that basically what they're trying to do in this era is create something very much like him, and they would probably come after him once word got out and make your guys' lives annoying.
Fair.
So if you accept that, you gain a fate point, or you can spend a fate point to reject it. Up to you.
I will take the fate point.
Yeah, I added it for you. In that case, how are you going to take action on that knowledge? So this guy basically threw a grenade at you. It did one, unless you're planning to react even more, it takes one, you take 1 stress.
Now, that was going to be my question, if that was resolved or not. If
It is not resolved yet. If you wanted to, you could continue.
Can I burn that fate point I just got to try and just hurl that grenade back at him?
You cannot. So technically speaking, actually, yeah, I guess a compel you could. Yeah, you could burn that one you just got. Yeah. But you would have to come up with an aspect that makes sense to give you the +2 bonus, because you couldn't like.
I would go off of his dark past.
Okay.
He's believing, from what he believes, these guys cannot be allowed to survive. They have to be put into the ground.
Okay, so that brings it back up to a +1 in your favor. So you succeed at defending against it. He's taken off running at this point. His men are going to follow suit after him. And then I guess I don't know if Herrera and they're kind of out of this conflict right now, but so I would say it goes back to you, Zuris. How you want to handle this? They're booking it without even looking back. So
What happened with the grenade?
Would he be able to close the gap to get into melee?
You could attempt to do so with an athletics roll against a +2. Let's see, hold on. Before you roll, let me check something. Yeah, you could do I would say a +2 passive opposition to close the gap to get into melee. Because you're not just trying to move from one zone to the other. Oh, there you go. So you succeed with a minor cost. So we'll say the minor cost there is you get to him, but You.
Do I see them leaving the building?
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking out the window, sure.
Can I drop some heavy shrapnel on
I would
them?
say at the
Use
cost,
Orilia?
you just barely make it to them. You don't have time to do another action on you don't
Okay.
do anything else. So, before we get to you, Cutter or not Cutter, Bob. I don't know why I was thinking your last name was Cutter.
Latimer?
Yeah. Do you want to? You see, Tramer just take off after these guys and catch up in like the blink of an eye. You've never seen him so like worked up about something before.
So, yeah, I want to. I'm still not clear what sort of action I could use to create the advantage in order to use my uncanny accuracy. But I want to do that in order to like shoot at one of them.
So if you use your uncanny accuracy, that would take your turn just to line up your sights, and you wouldn't be able to shoot till next turn. Just so you're aware.
But it gives me a free invoke.
Right.
Oh, an invoke is a boost.
Yeah, an invoke just gives you a +2 to your action. You still have to use your action to use the
that'd
invoke.
be like aim.
It's like your first turn would be aim and would give you a free invoke, and your next turn you could shoot and use that free invoke.
It's like take as long as I need to aim in order to be able to shoot more accurately.
Right.
Something along those lines. Okay, I see. I'm just gonna try to shoot a high-speed rock at the captain.
Okay, there's plenty of rocks around, so go ahead and roll shoot.
Kinetic shot.
Or will, or whatever your thing is there.
Small one. Like bullet size. Kinetic shot. I just rolled that twice. Which one counts? First one?
Yeah, first one was the first one to roll, so that's good too because they're gonna be quite. You're firing at the captain or the group?
Yes. I'm trying to kill the captain.
I'm assuming by yes you meant the captain.
Yes, I'm trying to kill the captain. Yes. Firing at the captain.
So you have no problem taking out the captain there. Yeah, like the rock just like pierces his heart and he just falls over dead immediately. And the others kind of like as they're running, they like stumble a bit as they see their captain just get destroyed in front of them.
Did that create an advantage?
No, because you made an attack, not a create advantage roll. You either attack or you create an advantage. It's one or the other. You can't do both.
I see. Yeah. Yeah.
These men are going to stop and like try to pick up their fallen leader. And that's going to be a +1, 2, 3, 5. So +6. They have no problem doing that. They actually even gain a boost out of it.
Plays kind of advantage.
And then they are going to take off running through the streets here with him.
Edward, help us!
Herrera. Actually, wait, sorry. Before they do that, you should have went before them. Sorry. Go ahead, Herrera.
I see them in the courtyard. I'd like to use the unstable foundation to knock a portion of the wall or floor section or just anything big and heavy, just kind of knock it off the edge so that it lands.
Okay, so you don't use an aspect, you invoke an aspect. So first you have to make an action of some sort and then enhance it using that by invoking that aspect. So for instance, you could do something to like attack, quote unquote, the wall.
I'd like to attack a nearby wall section or floor
section.
section.
And then so what are you ultimately trying? Are you trying to make it collapse on them, or are you trying to?
Yeah, I'm trying to make some big section of concrete or whatever that looks loose, rubble, whatever, fall on top of them.
Okay. So
I hit it with my hammer.
trying to think of how best to
hit it with my wrench.
trying to think of how best to do this mechanically.
Defend action?
So you're technically trying to attack them, but
Yep.
the way you're going about it is to
I am thematically explaining how I'm
Yep.
using the environment.
Yep. So you're hitting the wall. So you would be how are you hitting the wall? Are you throwing something at it? Are you hitting it with your
I'm
wrench?
using my wrench to jab it in, and my foot and all my leverage to hoist an object off of a ledge.
Okay, so that would be a physique check.
Well, I'm using like innate crafting, but I can use physique if you prefer.
Yeah,
So
this
that
would be
more
a
of just trying to hit the wall hard enough to break it.
I'm using intelligence and leverage, not necessarily strength, but the keeper
Oh.
has spoken.
Nice.
these guys.
And you're wanting to invoke the
Yeah, and you wanted to invoke the
unstable foundation.
yeah.
So that's 3 shifts, right? If I
Hold on.
understand
They get the teamwork bonus. I'm just doing the math right now.
yeah.
So they currently have a +7 on their roll because it's a mob.
Oh.
And you have a +5, so you could spend a fate point to invoke another aspect in addition to that. For instance, like the
Knock debris off the wall instead of break off some of the building and use the scattered debris and shrapnel.
Is there a basement to the courtyard?
no, the courtyard is just like an outside.
So there's no parking garage or anything
Mhm.
underneath it? Because if it's I'd like to assume that it's when the rubble hits the ground, it creates like tremors and like kind of busts open the concrete so that the floor underneath them goes out.
So there's no
That'd be
aspect on the table that you could use to invoke that, other than unstable foundation, which you've already used. So
I was using scattered debris and shrapnel.
that you could use. You could say that, as the foundation falls, the scattered debris and shrapnel falls on top of it again, like from other floors fall with it.
Okay, so the unstable foundation that falls when it lands, it maybe shoots off in all kinds of different ways, and rocks and rebarb and whatnot, debris and shrapnel kind of shoots out from where the trap lands.
Sure. So that would put you at a +7, which would be what they are at right now. So it'd be a tie, which is a success at a cost, but there would be no, like, a minor cost. Maybe, let's see, maybe the minor cost could be that the foundation from which you're standing on becomes loosened a bit.
Oh no.
It doesn't fall, but it's just like less stable at this point.
Yes. Make up for ditching us.
And
Sacrifice your life to help get rid of them.
so you do actually, I think with an attack action, let me check something real quick. Okay. With an attack action, it's a bit different. So with a tie, you don't cause any harm to them, which makes sense, but you do gain a boost. A boost is like a very fleeting, very like quick temporary aspect.
It should be a blockade, a temporary blockade that'll give Sergeant downstairs chance to catch up to them.
Yep. I'll take. Let's do it. So, I believe you're actually in the courtyard at this point as well, aren't you, Tramer?
Yep.
So you see the courtyard or the foundation just fall and like start to crumble around these guys, and they're like dipping and dodging, trying to avoid the falling debris and shrapnel. And in doing so, some of the debris forms a bit of a blockade in front of them that gives you a boost that you can use in your next attempt to do whatever you need to do with them. It's a
Murder them.
+2 that'll
them.
go away as soon, and the boost will go away as soon as you use it. If you don't use it, it'll go away anyway. So the boost will, not the blockade. So Dr. Mason, what you just saw Herrera just smash this building to pieces.
What's my take? Oh my goodness. I don't think we're trying to get to the floor. I thought the idea was to get up to the ceiling. If I get close to the window, would I be able to see the confrontation going on downstairs?
Yeah, certainly.
Would I be able to create an advantage by attempting to fire a shot off of the sniper rifle? Do I even know how the sniper rifle works?
I would say before you could do that, you would probably have to figure out how it works with like crafts check. But assuming you could, then yes, you could like do that to like cause a distraction or something.
Herrera, what's your take? I've never really handled a long arm before.
Just shoot in their general vicinity, and I'm sure they'll duck for cover. We'll give our guys a chance to catch up to them.
Okie dokie.
There's still got like a trigger and a barrel, right?
More or less.
So
I think.
should be
So I'll
similar, Recon.
Yep.
Similar enough that you.
I don't think guns have progressed enough in the last 200 years to be very different.
Yeah. They still operate in a pull the trigger and fire kind of way. I mean, I'm assuming that the round's already
If you pull
chambered.
the trigger, nothing happens. Then we're gonna need to put the bullet inside the
Yeah,
barrel.
but I'm
We're gonna
assuming
just-
it's already chambered and everything
we're gonna have to,
because
like, put some
Take the
gunpowder on
safety
the
off.
side of it.
Okay.
Yeah. Hope that it's
That-
loaded.
So that's a crafting check?
no, you can just fire it if you're just trying to. I would just let you fire it.
Okay, so I'm going to awkwardly try and angle it at the window and at the guys, and then
Would that be
what's
a
that? Shoot?
Yep. So what are you ultimately trying to do here? You're kind of try cause a distraction, or
I'm trying to create an advantage by creating a distraction against the other mercenaries that are downstairs. I'm not a marksman, so I'm not counting on being able to hit anybody dead on.
okay. So that would be yes against their. That's the wrong character sheet, but against their will, which they obviously don't have. So the shift is currently +1 in their favor. So you could attempt to invoke something to bring that over.
Would I be able to invoke the what's it called? The scattered debris? I'm assuming there's like a lot of debris around their feet now after half of the building's facade fell near them. So them being distracted by paying attention to where the fire is coming from might make their feet unsteady.
Okay, that'll be bring yours up to a +0, which would be a +1 shift. Think here.
I say it's a good thing we all have a relationship with Tramer because he seems to be the one we're going to have to all help most.
I'm going to use a fate point to invoke your double agent doctor high concept to suggest that you probably don't have a lot of weapons training, so you probably don't. I mean, the general like pull the trigger and shoot, but you're probably fumbling with it quite a bit. And probably not the best shot, so that'll bring it.
Just a sniper rifle down at them.
That'll bring it up to a a +1, so as a +1 shift on my end. So success and defense so far. Anything else you'd like to do? Also, you just spent a fate point, so I'm dropping that down in your character sheet.
Okay. Oh no. I should be at 0 right now, I think.
0? Oh, okay.
I think so, yeah, because we started this next half with like 1, then I took another fate point.
I didn't realize you were tracking them off your character. I thought you were tracking them on your character sheet. Sorry. If I would have known that, I would have been compelling you a lot more. My bad.
Sorry.
What happens if you compel when they don't have any fate?
They can't reject it, but they get a fate point.
Oh, and move out of the window, so I don't get any return fire.
Okay.
Oh, so you resisted the compel?
I never compelled them.
No. Okay. So at the end, you have that.
These guys are gonna carry their fallen leader back across to the street. And
Were they slowed down by the blockade?
Should be going back to.
oh yes, okay. We can let you go first, Zeus. You're right.
Or let me do another.
You should probably have a chance to react anyway. Go ahead.
Or let me give another.
I haven't really been keeping track of the order of things here, so we're probably all kind of out of whack in order. But go ahead, Zeus. Do your thing.
All good. So let's see. So with the stunts, how are they used exactly?
Depends on what's written in the stunt. They're just either passive, they're just always active, or if they're one that says you have to use a fate point and you can use it.
Okay. Okay, so I will try and start cutting them down, and I will go ahead and spend a fate point to use the hidden spring-loaded sword. So that'll be a +2.
And do I want to just let you just mow all of them down instantly? That's the question.
I mean, he's not a. He should have temporary bonus from me.
Oh,
so
and
yeah, you have
and
the boost. Yeah,
bonus.
you're just all right. Explain how this situation's going down. You're like these guys are trying to catch their get their fallen leader out of the area, and they're not paying as much attention to you as they probably should be. So they got this blockade in front of them that allows you to catch up really easily. You got this giant sword coming out of your fist right now. Like, how are you doing this? How are you?
This moment he notices they're distracted, he just brings it down, and it's just a mist of blood as he just slices through them one after the other.
I'm starting to see a pattern with our combat.
Edward's like watching this go down across the way, and he's just like mortified at the scene taking place in front of him.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's probably a slight bit traumatized too. But yeah, you do. I mean, you just massacre these people as they're trying to get away. Blood is just splattering all over the place, all over you.
Hey, remember that? Hey, save some for that one guy, Sergeant. That the patient upstairs needs some of that.
Yeah, they're the same blood type. No, he's probably regenerating his blood pretty good right now. He's been laying there for a while now, so. Yeah, so that definitely takes care of that.
Were there any survivors?
That doesn't sound like it. It sounds like he just massacred everyone.
He was compelled to make sure they were all in the ground, so I don't think so.
John, you did compel him with that dark past.
Yeah, you asked for it.
Technically, I compelled him with the grizzled veteran. The dark pass was on him.
It was a combo.
True.
So yeah, I mean the cries of battle have quieted. Edward approaches in like a mortified manner. He's like, "Good God, what did you do to these people?"
Shoot him.
He'll wipe the blade before retracting it, and it's like, only what he had done. Let's hurry up and get this over with before more of them show up.
So
And when he gets back into the bottom floor, you can see Bob just like Bob.
I tried to not edit it violently.
Your mechanical hand probably needs quite a good cleaning from polishing from Herrera at this point.
Yeah, just like why with his hand dripping with blood.
It's like,
I want to clean that before the gears rust.
let's head upstairs.
Can I?
If you're gonna use that power, at least make sure to kill him. Otherwise, it just seems to cause more problems than it's worth.
I did kill my guy. Oh, actually, I didn't want to go up. I want to check the bodies. See if I can. Yeah, wait. So let Trimmer go.
Okay.
We're still going, Trimmer.
I mean, they have a lot of their gear, like especially their armor and whatnot, is completely mangled at this point and useless.
Yeah, not looking for gear. I'm looking for.
They have some like walkie-talkies on them, which you wouldn't really know what those are, but they have, of course, their sidearms. They have their primary weapons. They have combat knives. They have a couple grenades and whatnot attached to a couple of their belts.
personal
Flashbangs.
items that might be able to help us identify where we are.
Dog tags. Oh, where you are?
Yes. Like, do any of them have any
Balls.
personal stuff like maps or magazines or I don't know,
So,
something like that?
They
That's what-
wouldn't have it on. They don't have any like backpacks with them. You could probably guess that wherever they were stationed is probably where their personal items are. They wouldn't like carry them into battle with them.
Not supposed to.
They're not. They aren't fantasy soldiers. They're.
So there,
Yeah.
I mean, there's likely a encampment somewhere where they're stationed, where they have all their personal items. They were obviously out scouting at this point, so they would have mostly just whatever they needed for their mission. Nothing
Did they,
more.
like,
Otherwise, they'd just be weighing themselves down unnecessarily.
would they be like making a map with their scouting or anything like that? Is there any way?
Probably not.
Probably not. I mean, you would assume they'd already have this place mapped out. It's more like
Controlling
security
If it was a
more than
city-
anything.
If it was a city, they would already know, and they would do a debriefing beforehand.
Yeah.
So as far as like a lace report goes, these guys they might have water, ammunition, and that's it.
Okay.
They would. I
Yeah,
mean, you
I'll control them.
might notice various patches on them and whatnot. That might. I mean, if you knew the area, you could identify them from that. But with your knowledge, you wouldn't know. But you could cut them off or something and take them with you and try to find someone who does know.
Yeah.
This bloody patch. Do you know who? Why is it covered in blood? No.
I just kind of like, remember, see if I can,
So I mean, you would very much remember
Yeah.
that what the patch or the insignia on the lady's breast looked like, and this is not the same one.
Okay. Just store it in my memory what it looks like, I guess. Any way to figure out where they came from looking at them? Or probably not.
Not really. I mean, in your guys' time, like in your what would be present time to you guys, people have intermingled. Like they're the concept of borders doesn't really exist really. So like the idea of like in our world, like Asian versus
These people
European.
have been fighting and squabbling over resources. We really don't care what side they're on.
Yeah.
I meant more of where their base camp is.
Oh, where like they're stationed? Probably not. I mean, that would just be like they know where it's at and they would return to it. They wouldn't have anything like on their bodies that would suggest. I mean, that'd be a liability if they did.
Yeah, okay. Makes sense. Come on, Edward. Let's go up to talk with everyone else. Okay.
Reconnoiter.
We'll probably,
there
by
you
the real
are.
quick though, we'll probably finish the scene and then call it. So,
Okay.
just kind of late. But go ahead.
I'm gonna go ahead and walk up to Bob, holding off a nice shiny new sniper rifle. Bob, do I have a gift for you?
Oh, do you?
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna hand it over. I already tried it out myself. It looks to be working all right.
Wait, what? What? Rolls I'm not
Why
supposed
did
to see.
Edward roll a burglary check?
Yes.
I was looking at his character sheet and I clicked to open it and I clicked too rapidly and it automatically.
He's looting the body.
You rolled it. You rolled for him. Wait, we can.
And Edward just walked by the pink mist and just.
No, silly Edward. Robbing involves taking something, not leaving stuff. Okay. Herrera, do you have any idea what this thing is, how to use it? Or do I?
Or you could roll a crafts check and nail down the mechanics of it. I mean, it's entirely a mechanical device, so it's completely within your domain of knowledge there.
Can you figure this out for me, please? Okay.
What?
You can roll a crafts check to help Bob
Can you
figure out how
this
to
out for me, the
operate
sniper?
that sniper rifle.
I can't hear Nathan. Can you say that again?
You can't hear me?
No, like every time you talk, somebody else talks, and then I can't hear you.
Okay. Herrera, can you figure out how this sniper rifle Dr. Mason gave me works?
Grab this sniper rifle, rack it, unload it, pop the magazine in, lock the chamber into the round. Hand
You
it over
had already figured it out.
Point
Just watching Dr. Mason try to use it earlier, so you just show him how it's done.
Hand the rifle to you. Just point and shoot.
I could.
So now I know how to use it?
Yeah. You can assume he instructed you in the basics.
Well, I already know how to point and shoot a rifle, so I just need to know how to
And
use
now
it.
you know how to point and shoot this rifle. Hey, Doc, is your patient doing okay?
Good question. I suppose I could walk on over and see if he's awake.
So he's currently sleeping right now, resting.
Smelling salts.
He doesn't seem to be in any sort of.
Chips?
He doesn't seem to be any life-threatening danger or anything. He's just
Ooh.
out of energy now because he's low in blood. So he's resting and replenishing blood at this point.
Did
What's
we
the
miss
story
one?
with this guy?
No.
Did you miss one?
No. That's this one's not one of them. He's I believe he's aware of all the commotion that went on outside.
Speaking of ones not being one of them, does this patient have the same uniform as the ones that Bob just put into the eviscerator?
Nope.
Okay.
And
One in-
Tramer would quickly recognize the patch on his as the same one as was on the redheaded lady from earlier.
She was redheaded? I don't think I caught that. Whatever. Okay.
Looks like he's on the same side as the lieutenant we had first encountered.
That's captain to you, Tramer.
I thought she corrected me. That's
Yeah,
my
she
bad.
never actually did correct out loud.
Okay. Yeah, same side as the captain we had encountered.
They have a really weird symbol for lieutenant and captain. I mean, one's a 1 bar and one's 2 bars.
No, it's
Lieutenant,
really odd.
captain.
Uh-huh. More means better.
Sergeant, you have been a non-commissioned officer for so long. You probably just hate upper brass, anyways. I've seen one officer. I've seen them all.
Exactly.
So, are we gonna smelling salts this guy awake, or
Is that what you want to do?
what are we doing, guys? What are we doing?
Don't see if there's any equipment around here to try and get him to come to just for a little bit.
I mean,
can shock him.
No,
You're a doctor.
Like
You're a doctor. I'm
person.
sure you have something on your person to help out with that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you need help with machinery, Doctor, I am your gear consultant.
Right. But I don't know if we want to.
I tend to be better at helping people turn them off.
Well, indeed.
Bob, did you happen to grab the walkie-talkies or no? When you came up, when you were inspecting the body.
You said we didn't know what they were or how they were.
Right.
If I didn't know what they were, I wouldn't have grabbed them.
Okay.
Is
Just
Edward
checking.
still down there?
Edward's still down there.
I think
yeah.
he just tried to burgle something, didn't he?
Edward's still down there. I'm just trying to figure out how stuff's gonna play out. Don't worry about it.
Reverse pickpocket is perfect.
What?
man.
Whatever you're gonna do with that guy, do it quickly. It's probably only a matter of time before whoever they're working with or their comrades come looking for him.
Assuming I have some thoughts on me, can I try and nudge him to be conscious briefly?
Sure. You do. You kind
The
of
roll?
wave the salts in front of him, and he kind of, shakes his head a bit before coming to, like a bit of a daze, but he's conscious at this point. Who are you people?
The name is Dr. M. You seem to have suffered some sort of concussion, I believe. Very stressful situation. Would you be able to tell me what day it is?
He kind of his eyes kind of shift around, almost like he's trying to, make heads and tails of things. The date?
Yes.
It's,
Like a simple doctor test. You must have hit your head. What do you know the dates? Who's the president?
It's
What's the president?
2027. He kind of hesitates and twists his head as you can tell he's quite in a lot of pain and has quite a headache, probably
Sure.
dehydrated and whatnot from losing so much blood. And he's like, September 7th, I think.
Let's see. Young man, would you be able to tell me your name and what faction you belong to?
My name is Jace. And my faction is the Coalition.
Coalition, I see. You seem to have been through a lot. Does anybody have any brief questions they'd like to, this is like an aside to the party, to ask our friend here before we put him, let him rest some more?
Where is she?
Right, his eyes widen as he comes to a sudden
No,
realization. He's he grabs your shirt. He's
Collar?
like, "Is the lieutenant all right?"
Lieutenant, you're going to have to be more specific, son.
Sarah.
Lieutenant Sarah. I don't recall the name. It's not coming to my person, but we can
He
definitely
kind of just
check.
drops his arm and just lays back
Okay.
down. Obviously,
Okay.
very weak still.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Okay, turn to the
You
party.
should ask him if he knows anything of I'm not sure. I don't remember how to pronounce it. Bastrofton.
Bishrafadon?
Yeah.
I think he just went unconscious, though.
No, he's still conscious. He's just he
Oh.
didn't have the strength to
Oh.
keep holding on to you, really.
Gotcha. I see.
Oh,
Okay.
Is there a way we can contact your lieutenant? Private?
There's a walkie-talkie somewhere around here.
What's a walkie-talkie?
What's it look like, soldier?
You don't know what a walkie-talkie is?
Son, we don't have
We're
time.
We're from out of town.
He stares at you blankly and blinks a few times. And he's just it's a small black rectangular device, antenna sticking out of it. It was over by Michael. So he kind of looks over towards where you found the corpse and the sniper rifle from before.
Hello, Michael.
So did the guys? I assume not, but the other soldiers, they didn't have name tags or anything, did they?
They had dog tags.
Oh yeah, so names. Do I know their names now? Who they were?
The dead ones?
Yes.
I mean, did you spend the time to go through all 8 of their dog tags and look at each of their names? I mean, if you did, yeah, you would know them. But
I saw
I like
that.
how they speak our language, which is awesome.
Common?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I saw that they had them, I guess.
I remember these are the same people as you, right? Like
Yeah.
It's only been like 1,000 years. Not.
it's only been 450 years. It's changed
Bob,
a
you
bit,
kill
but
one
it's
of, you kill
understandable.
one of the guys, and then all of a sudden you like one of us disappears because you killed like our
No.
or something.
You mess with the timeline. There's no going back.
I mean, that is our entire purpose, is to mess with the time.
I'd be lying if I said I didn't think about it.
Grandfather paradox. I killed the captain, and then
You
suddenly
killed your
I-
great grandfather.
I know it's not
He's
fate,
alive
John,
again.
but you should roll like a D100 or a D1000 every time we kill somebody
That would
to
be
see if
fun.
they're like randomly related to one of us. You were telling me about your sister. I never had a sister.
Yeah. Question there is always how does the time travel? How does they work the time travel? Because it's like, are you aware outside of the changes? Do you never know they happened?
Butterfly effect.
It's always different, but it's always different how they do it because sometimes they want characters to be aware, even though it doesn't.
No one
make
really
sense.
knows how it works. It's just the first time, right? You guys are the guinea pigs here. They have theories, but
For all we know, we caused the catastrophe trying to stop it.
yeah.
It's,
So, Herrera, did you go and pick up the walkie-talkie?
I'm walking and I'm talking. Do I see it?
oh yeah, Terror made a notice check.
Oh, did she? I missed it. Yeah, I mean, you look around the site where the rubble was, and you dig around a bit, and you find it. It seems to be in all right condition. It probably could use. It's probably not working immediately, but it's at a point where you could probably repair it if you wanted to. It was under a lot of rock and rubble.
What's this private's name?
Jace.
Jace. Do I know how to work the walkie-talkie?
Roll a crafts check.
I love it when you say that.
You're able to figure it out, and you're able to repair it in the process, no problem. And you turn it on, and there's some bit of static. Here.
Lieutenant Sarah? Go for Lieutenant Sarah.
It's like there's a voice on the other end, but it's kind of like choppy and broken up. It's like, oop. And then it kind of like the audio stabilizes a bit, and you hear, Jace, come in. And Tramer, you recognize the voice quite immediately. It is the voice of the lady whose barrel you broke earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Just kind of
pinned.
thinks to himself, oh, a lieutenant. That's close.
Yeah, Lieutenant, what's your sit rep? Can I get a code 4? I need you to 1019 over to my 20.
Says the grease monkey.
She hesitates for a second. She's like, "You don't sound like Jace."
Jace, got anything to say?
He kind of like weakly reaches up and grabs the walkie-talkie. It's like, Lieutenant, building, edge of the street, lit up, Christmas tree. Help. And it is
It's
like
like deja
drops
vu.
the walkie-talkie.
I mean, it's got to be a double-edged sword, right?
Bob, make sure no one follows her in.
Okay, I'm just gonna look out the window. What is Edward doing? Am I seeing Edward?
I was
still?
just about to say, Edward, at this point, Edward comes up the elevator, and he's like, guys, we have a problem.
Oh,
And he's,
Okay.
he's carrying a similar walkie-talkie, and there's someone on the other end. It's like, men, where are you? Repeat, position.
send no reply. It's a trap.
He's like, what do I say?
Nothing.
First base.
Somebody set us up the bomb.
And at this point, you see from the windows, you see Sarah making her way with a few other armed individuals alongside her.
Okay, can I take that walkie-talkie and try and make a deceptive response?
The one that Edward brought in?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask the party though. Is that a good idea or a bad idea?
Yeah, you can do it.
Do
if
it.
you want
If
to.
you think you
Oh,
can
wait.
pull it off.
Beforehand, can I see? If I'm looking down there, can I see any of them if they look like they were talking there from the group with Sarah when the walkie-talkie was going off?
You mean like, oh, I see what you're saying. While the walkie-talkie's going off, none of them look like they're speaking. But I mean, it's quite a distance away, so it's hard to really tell. But from what you can see, it doesn't really seem like
Through the
anyone.
scope, yeah. Using my new rifle, anti-rifle.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like anyone's speaking on a walkie-talkie.
Okay.
It looks like this is a different coalition.
Yeah. I know. I just let everyone know that.
Did we find out what that other crew was from? Do we want to show Jace the uniform maybe and ask him what?
You cut off the tag, didn't you?
Yeah, I cut off the badge. Bloody badge.
Maybe wash them off first.
Which
I
one of the
suppose
water
we'll
bottles?
get the alcohol out or
Use
the
one
blood
of the
out.
water bottles.
So did you want to do a deceptive roll, Dr. Mason?
I heard one yes and one maybe.
Mhm.
You are the master of your own fate, Dr. Mason.
Alrighty, go ahead and reply on the walkie-talkie after having witnessed other militants in the area. Right, lit building is clear. We're moving on to the next section. And that right there. Is that a deception roll or a
That
team
is a
roll?
deception roll. See.
Oh, nice. Good deception. Make that phone. Yes. Hmm.
Oops. Oh.
Hmm.
I mean, so
Hmm?
they believe you.
Ah,
Put it that way. I'm gonna have to think of a cost, but it won't be that bad. It's a minor cost, so it's not a big deal. But that is where we are going to end the session because I have been winging it for the past like 3 hours because none of this was planned by me.
Welcome to Fate.
And I'm running out of ideas here. So